What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah, editor of Cannabis Culture and Pot TV. Yeah, it's a big day today. We have a lot of guests on, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Right next to me on the couch right now, to my right, Mr. John Burfello.
Good day, everybody.
He's kind of like a constant sidekick these days. It's hard to get rid of him, really. Well, that's a good thing because we like having him around.
I like coming over here, talking with you guys, hanging out, saying hello.
Well, and you happen to be right in the middle of like
there's
a lot of the big stuff happening around here in British Columbia.
Well, I'm trying to help out, and I think the education is coming across. A lot of people are waking up, and like a lot of us have had a voice for so long, people want to hear more. And hey, you know what? A lot of good stuff happening here in BC, in Canada, in the world. I mean, of course, sitting here with Bubble Man, and
I was going to say, to his right is Mr. Bubble Man Mark. Love you, Mark. Bubble Man Mark. And he's got his little D-nail unit with him there, all plugged in. He's hitting up.
Got my own mic.
Got his own microphone.
Hey, hooked up a second mic today.
That's right. We don't have Bubble Man on the show often enough, really, in my opinion. He's like a good local resource. Awesome information. I think on the last show we played Bubble Man's speech from the Green Rush conference, which I was really impressed with, Mark. I thought it was awesome.
Oh, thanks,
great
man.
Job, man.
Excellent.
It was excellent.
I think I don't make it on your show that often because it seems like for 18 hours a day I'm filming and editing and uploading.
You're a busy man.
And photographing and
you have
hash
Bubble Man's
making.
World, which is your own show that is totally awesome, full of content like crazy, and you have been doing videos for a long time. Quite popular now, actually.
You know what? It seems like it's been about 6 months to a year
Yeah.
that John and I have been busting out these
yeah. So it hasn't
these
been as long as
videos.
some of the others, but you've already kind of caught up to some of them in terms of...
The growth has been quick.
Yeah.
We're almost at 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing a lot of education and showing people what, you know, how to make your own medicine.
That's
you know,
right.
talking about what we do every day. It's kind of
yeah,
it's kind of
you guys
fun.
are kind of
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun.
hash masters, you would say.
Well, in a nice setting. People like to see a nice view. They like to see sort of like heady glass and epic hash, but they also like to be brought into that macro world, something not a lot of the other channels are offering, where we bring you in and we don't just say, this is really nice hash, take my word for it. We show you under the macro lens that sort of is more now like the word of the resin gods.
Yeah, your photography is pretty amazing, man, and it brings you a lot closer to the world of trichomes than anybody else I know. So. Yeah,
there's a handful of us out there on Instagram. You can check out Beer Goggles, BIERGOGGLES, Beer Goggles. He's also absolutely amazing macro photographer. Shout out to Monkey from Overgrow Days, that was my mentor in macro and taught me a lot about what I know.
Yeah.
And also Green Machine from IC Mag. That guy is just, they're epic macro photographers. They're sort of my inspiration, so there's always someone to look up to.
That's right, for sure. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff on the show today. We have a few different guests to come on by telephone. One of the big names we have by phone today from his, basically is not his cell, obviously, but the telephone close to his cell in jail, Enrico Bouchard, who was arrested just a few days ago for, apparently they're charging him with selling seeds to some undercover cops. And I guess they're claiming that he sold seeds to this large growing operation that had, you know, thousands of plants, about 1,000 pounds in bud, I think, a bunch of cash.
It was like 1,100 kilos or something.
Yeah. Well, they said 400 kilos, I think. Yeah, and then.
438 kilos of weed.
Yeah.
12-something kilos of edibles.
So 400 kilos of weed, 1,200
like
kilos
almost 1,000
of
pounds.
baked goods.
But still, you know, on the grand scheme of things, I bet Quebec grows like 1,000 pounds every 12 hours.
Oh, fuck. Easily. Yeah.
So
Well,
really,
it's totally
that's not
ridiculous.
the most ridiculous thing about the story. The most ridiculous thing is when the chief went on TV and said this was part of his big operation to stop all greenhouse growing of cannabis in Quebec.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Holy shit, bro. Like,
Lofty
you
goals
missed
or what?
hard if that's all
Yeah.
you got in all of this.
No, not possible. And the thing about that's so crazy about this Enrico case is it's not like Enrico is a big seed seller or something.
No.
He sold a
No.
couple packs of seeds.
Dude.
The guys that he's allegedly he sold some seeds. And he said, you know, basically he says that he's not a seed seller at all. It's totally ridiculous. We'll have him on the show to say exactly what he wants to say.
Wow, well, that's
But
terrible. Terrible to hear that.
hopefully he won't get in trouble for it. I know we had Mark.
Well, I gave
They always-
heads up
Yeah.
as their official, unofficial.
I'm talking to Al off camera here.
Why don't you come sit with us, Al?
Yeah, Al, you want to come and
Ow.
ride the couch with
I
us?
got a mic that I
Jump
can share
in.
with you here.
Ride the couch wagon?
See, I gave them I talked to Terry earlier, and I kind of just let her know that, you know, what could or could not happen if he does come on. So he's gonna make the decision, but
Yeah.
it's Enrico. I'm sure he wants to tell his story.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I hope he does, because I'd love to talk to him. I had an interesting conversation with him earlier today, so.
But I mean, for the first couple days, it was a hard go for him. They were denying him right to doctor, to medication,
That's
to
right.
clean clothes, to a bed. He was sleeping on the floor next to a toilet, like all kinds of bullshit stuff. And I just want to point out, we've got these guys that come into chat quite often. Rom being the ringleader, and Rom boasted that he is the guy that ratted Enrico out. And all
Oh,
of
yeah,
these,
right.
Rom boasted.
He's trying to claim credit for something he didn't
so
do.
so I just want everybody that's involved with this bust, all of you heavies that got busted with your thousands of pounds and stuff, know that there's this guy named Rom that comes into chat on Vapor Central and Cannabis Culture, and he claims that he's the guy.
Oh, sure.
So
he
there
just
you
wants
go,
to be the
Rom.
big
Just
guy.
be careful of the shit you open trying to be
Oh.
a tough guy in chat, because I'm sure there's some serious people that got busted in this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, and the thing is, I don't think Enrico really has anything to do with
No,
the people
Enrico is a victim of circumstance.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Enrico
think.
being kind of a cannabis celebrity in Quebec,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty much the only cannabis celebrity in Quebec.
They used footage in the CBC
Yeah,
video and stuff of us in the Strain Hunters vehicle.
in the
and
Land
Enrico
Rover.
jumping off the roof and everything. Oh, Lord.
So
Well.
I think they're just attacking the only cannabis voice the province of Quebec, you know, has in the big media, right?
So what time is he calling in at?
Hopefully 5, eh?
Yeah, he's calling in at 5 o'clock. So that
5-minute warning, John?
5-minute warning.
Mark just started the 5-minute warning.
That's right,
yeah,
5 minutes.
That's at 5.
We'll puff steady
So-
through that 5 minutes.
Also on the show, we're going to talk with Michael Czerhoniak from the Champs Expo, who will be coming on the show. Coming on by telephone on the show.
Not to be confused
to talk with
Lawrence
us.
Cherniak.
Not Lawrence Cherniak. No. Michael is the guy who took over the expo in Toronto from Treating Yourself Expo from Marco. They basically now converted it into the Champs Expo Canada. This is the first time Champs will actually be coming to Canada. First time they've ventured over the border, so they kind of do a lot of the expos down there. Michael has worked with High Times and their expos and stuff. So
Yeah, they were all through the States, Vegas,
Yeah.
and Colorado. They've been doing
And-
tons of shows, so it'll be good to see them come up here. They're
Yeah.
bringing a lot of people.
May 23rd to 25th coming up just next weekend. We'll be there with Pot TV covering the whole event. We'll be broadcasting live through the whole event. Normal will be doing the stage speeches and activities. So we'll be having probably a dual cam, one on the normal broadcast, one on the normal presentation the entire time, and then one on us cruising around, looking at the booths, interviewing people, and doing the other stuff. So
There you go.
watch
Well,
Pot TV for lots of content on the Champs Expo coming up.
You'll also be able to watch us because we'll be
Right.
filming Bubble Mounts World there, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll be doing some Puff Wednesdays. We'll
Puff
be,
Wednesdays.
booth 407 and 506?
Yeah, I confirmed that today.
Excellent. So,
Yeah, so-
we're going to rip the whole half wall and middle wall down and just make it one big 20-foot by 10-foot booth. So
We're gonna
definitely
do-
come by and check us out.
We're going to do something.
Should be
Be
fun.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, the expo is going to be great. It usually the TY Expo has been good in the past. I actually thought every single year was pretty decent. Even the first year when he was just getting off the ground, it wasn't too bad. And in the last year, it was actually getting really good. We had the glass competition. This year, we're also going to have the big glass blowers competition. And Redbeard will be joining us on the Pot TV team in Toronto, and he'll be corresponding for Pot TV and interviewing glass blowers, checking out the glass section, doing a lot of that stuff for us. So watch for that. It's going to be the full weekend, basically, Friday to Sunday. So
yeah, Friday's going to be
coming up.
Industry. Yeah, what's
We're
coming
leaving on
up?
Wednesday.
We leave on Wednesday. We're going to puff at the airport like we always do and jump on a plane.
Puff at the airport like we always do. Man, the last couple of months, we have puffed down quite a few airports.
Barcelona, Amsterdam.
Beautiful garden, rooftop garden patio area in Schiphol in Amsterdam. I don't know if any of you know that out there, but if you're in Schiphol Airport, look for the rooftop garden. It's worth it on a sunny day.
Mm-hmm. That place is a real shithole.
It's actually the opposite. It's really quite a beautiful airport. Get a massage.
Oh, I didn't go for the massage at the airport, but next time.
You didn't know about the massage?
I didn't know.
That's down.
Amsterdam, really?
That's down E.
Oh, I've seen that at other airports.
Down E. D is.
But in
of
Holland,
course,
you're not quite sure what kind of a massage is. So.
No, it's a fine massage. That's just.
You got to go into town for the other one you're looking for.
Right. If they have a blue light, stay away from that one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I was talking with.
Yeah, we venture to steer clear of that whole area as much as possible.
And with this Champs show, I was talking with Michael today for a little bit, and he was saying the hype down in Atlanta where he is right now is like really big. A lot of people want to come up to the event. A lot of the Americans are coming up to take a better look at what Canada's doing up here, the industry, and of course
everybody is expecting Rob Ford to be there.
Well, he might show up. But even with this the Green Rush conference we had here and going into Toronto, a lot of people are now looking at that event, which is pretty cool. People looking at the Champs.
Happy 420, everybody.
Happy 420.
Happy 420. Puff down. Time to puff.
I missed the 1 minute warning.
Yes, that is Kennedy in the picture space.
420.
So I haven't got on to our main viewer, but that's hanging behind my head here and desk. That's Patrick Kennedy up there behind me. Now, Patrick Kennedy is part of a group called Smart Approaches to Marijuana. They're in town right now. He was in town just at a restaurant in Gastown. Dana Larson of Sensible BC held a press conference because SAM is one of these groups that is fighting the legalization of marijuana. Or what they're really trying to do is co-opt the legalization of marijuana. They say, well, we're against, reforming the laws, but we want to do it in a way that's safe. And really what that means is more punishment, treatment centers, and other horrible things for people.
What do you need a treatment center for something that helps you every day?
The same old, same old. They never have a different perspective. It's always the same,
So I guess we're going to educate them on the endocannabinoid system.
Well, you know what? That's the bottom line. Once they really learn that, there's going to be a final leg that will fall. In my opinion, to those people, the argument is simple. It's like Dravet syndrome. How do you argue against that? That's like the base foundation to argue with any single prohibition-based mindset that thinks there's no medicinal value in cannabis. That's where you start with them.
Right.
And once you've, destroyed their position, you can move into the preventative,
it's
the
just
curative.
so obvious that that's not the case now. I mean, anybody who thinks that marijuana doesn't have any medicinal value is obviously hasn't been reading the news, hasn't seen any studies, and it shouldn't be taken, scientifically serious.
Well, but if you read even a comic book, there's always the good guys and the bad guys. So they're just fulfilling their part as the bad guys.
Right. There's got to be a supervillain somewhere.
It seems as though there needs to be.
Right. And Patrick Kennedy is kind of one of these guys. He's a real goofball. The stuff that these guys say about pot is really bad. What's up, Marius? Marius wants to say something. Sure, Marius here. Hold on.
What, Marius?
Speaking of people who deny that there's any benefit to medical marijuana, there's a doctor the head of the Canadian Medical Association, calls it quackery, snake oil salesman, and bad medicine. He says that has absolutely no value whatsoever. So he's just as diluted as these SAM guys, and he's the head of the Canadian Medical Association.
But in his defense, you know, when I was talking with Dr. David Allen recently, and he was telling me how he phoned 174 medical schools in North America, I think actually just in America, 174, which is the majority of them,
Right.
and asked if any of them teach the endocannabinoid system. None of them do.
No.
Which means every doctor that's going to graduate even this year will know nothing about the endocannabinoid system.
Even the head of the Canadian
Of course, especially the head of...
Yeah, the doctors
He
don't have anything to do with
He
it.
had said on the show that it's illegal to study the endocannabinoid system in the United States. It is, yeah, it's illegal.
Well, I think
You can't.
I think you can now.
You have to apply. You have to apply for special special approval.
There you go.
No
Well,
longer class 1 or whatever.
no longer club.
Yeah, they're
Here-
down
here- here in
scheduling.
Canada-
Not even be allowed.
Cannabinoids is just part of us naturally.
Yeah, it's
There you
the
go.
endocannabinoid
But here in
system is inside
Canada,
your body.
Cannabinoids.
Yeah.
Early, but
It's amazing.
the internal endocannabinoids,
Less than 10% of all doctors who will graduate in North America will even have basic knowledge of the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah,
well,
it's
here in
pretty- it's pretty
Canada, what they
sad.
did about 3 years ago, they had a conference and it went right across Canada, and it was called Synergies 3. And it was educating on how to prescribe cannabis as a medicine. They educated 1,600 doctors across Canada. That happened, it was the late 2011 in the fall, and they went right across, they went across the provinces. So they've already put it into play. A lot of doctors are being educated on it and stuff like that.
But what are they learning?
They're learning
Like
how to prescribe.
okay,
It was
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
I
know,
should
but
bring in the
what are
documents
the-
next time.
What like? How do you prescribe? What are
Well,
the
they're treating it
parameters that
like
they're
an
learning?
opiate because it affects the central nervous system in the same way. It works works the same, but it's non-addictive, right? So someone like myself that takes heavy opiates, I can use cannabis for the same pain control, right? So, I mean,
Yeah, I just want to know what all of these doctors are actually learning.
that's what they're basically,
you know. It's,
taking
which,
a look at
but
how,
but that's
how pain is being affected through the endocannabinoid system. So with opiates, they take a look at the same way it downregulates pain, and cannabis works off the same mechanism, but it's a little bit different. So you have a vanillinoid receptor and an opioid receptor, and they both work in that same mechanism as in helping with pain, right? So doctors are looking at that same profile, and that's how they're trying to. We're just talking about how doctors are trying to prescribe, and this is what they basically did, and that's how they were educating the doctors. And they're saying, well,
so basically
we look
they're
at it
educating them
as
wrong.
an opiate, and we know how it works in the same thing. So we're going to try and prescribe it on that contact, and that was what the whole education was on: is how the opiates work pre and post synapse in the central nervous system, and all this other stuff, right? So. That's what they did, and that's how they're trying to prescribe it right now. So it'll be interesting on what they start doing here in the future and how they are going to be prescribing it. Because right now it's just a download from Health Canada website, and away you go, right?
it just
Take it to your doctor,
I'm always skeptical when I hear that the people who are against it are teaching the doctors. To me,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well, it was a conference. It was held all across Canada. I mean, I know people who are involved with it. There's other doctors that work at MCRCI.
Patients Out of Time there in Portland recently. That one had some pretty incredible speakers, and they seem to know a fair thing or two about the endocannabinoid system. There are some PhDs down in the U.S. that are studying it, and there are some. If you check out on Facebook, we started a page recently called the Endocannabinoid System, and there's a good group of people in there that are. Sort of compiling information through articles. There's some really good YouTube videos that are put out by one of the labs down in California. It's a lab setting with a scientist sitting in a white lab coat explaining specific cannabinoids and terpenes and THCs and what they mean and their molecules and how they affect you through your endocannabinoid system. It's a pretty incredible amount of information. It just hasn't really been compiled yet in a good way, I think, that we can teach, unfortunately, our doctors. Like, what John's saying is right, what Al's saying is right, too. That we are teaching them, they're learning wrong, basically, but at least they're learning. You know what I mean? At least they're admitting that there's an endocannabinoid system, that that cannabis can work with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's changing. It's awesome. It's good to see that the research and what's happening right now in the world. We're getting more on par with being able to. People are eating more hemp. We're growing it more. We're seeing more industries being related around this whole industry of marijuana, cannabis. I mean, it's changing the world, and we're seeing it. And hey, it's great to be a part of it, man. It really, really is, because a lot of people fought hard and long to get where we are, but now we're not done. We're going to be
nowhere near.
Yeah. Everyone's got to get out of jail, starting with the prince himself, Mark Emery.
Yeah.
Right? We got a couple of months.
54 days?
54 days. So less than a couple of months.
54 days.
Dude, that's
until
exciting.
Mark is released from prison. Then it takes a while for them to actually transport him back to Canada. So it could be about a month after that, maybe at the most, hopefully, until we see him.
Damn.
But it'll be August sometime. So.
I was talking to Adam from TH Seeds, one of the owners of Hemp Hoodlum today down in Colorado, and he was thinking about Mark. He was like, man, he's got these 2 limos that are like the Hood Lab limos, right? These real cannabis-themed parties that he throws. And he was like, I got to send a limo up to go pick up Mark and bring him home for
that would be really awesome.
That's what I said. Yeah. I was like, dude, that would be ridiculous.
That would be very cool. Oh, Mark is going to be so thrilled with the love he gets when he comes back, because
it's going to be overwhelming.
It's been hard on him.
I can say from a guy that's known Mark for, I don't know if it's been 20 years now or what, we used to come here in the opening days of Hemp BC. Was that 92 or?
Oh, yeah. Well, 94.
94. It wasn't open till 94.
Yeah.
Okay, so I probably was coming 92, 93 because it was pre-Hemp BC, and it was just Mark and Brother Leroy had the Hemp Times newsletter.
Yeah.
And I remember bringing hemp out and showing those guys hemp paper and hemp material, and it was like some of the first hemp even Mark himself had ever seen. And then literally within the year, Hemp BC with Hillary Black and Shell and Jer was all, like just the whole crew of people from that many years ago. All these years later, it's going to be insane when Mark gets out.
Oh, yeah.
I suspect it'll be the most covered cannabis news story ever.
It might be.
I don't think that's saying it lightly either. I mean, what is more?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be a really huge event. We have people from all over the place who want to come and visit us here. Like, people from High Times and other places are like, what's going to happen? Is there going to be a big party? What can we do? Can we come?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's like...
Everybody wants to come to the party.
You got to have like a week of parties.
A week of parties.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there'll be parties all over.
Hopefully
the
first
night can be industry friends and close friends and family.
Now, I wanted to bring on Michael from Champs. So what I did want to do, just before we bring on Michael, you got the D-nail.
Yeah, you want to take a rip before I
I would love to take a rip. I just wanted to talk about what that is exactly, because we don't really talk to you about the D-nail a lot. We haven't had the D-nail on the show very much.
Well, the D-nail is one of the electronic nails. The original, of course, was the Tasks Highly Educated. And this one here is it's the D-nail from Brian Schroeder and Stevie Hughes. They really great guys. They're engineers. They're using high-end components. They're constantly moving the product forward. I can't even keep up with them. Like 1 minute they're sending me a titanium bowl nail, which the next day it's a quartz nail, and then a week later it's a ceramic insert. A week after that, we're sending you a sapphire insert. It's the new rage. You got to taste sapphire. I'm like, okay. But basically, it's a heated element that sits around the quartz bowl, heats it up to a specific temperature. I think I have it at about 750, 746 right now.
Nice.
And it just keeps the bowl perfectly ready to go all day long for 12 to 15 hours at a time for me. It sits next to my office. I can just drop dry sift on there like John's about to do for you. I can drop my bubble on there. You can take dabs of whatever you really want to. And the taste is impeccable. You can control the temperature, bring it down, bring it up. It's real easy to pass around, share. Yeah, it's a fucking kick-ass unit.
Wow.
I gotta say.
That's what I said.
That's
what I said when I first said the rip was, wow.
It's tasty. Wow. The flavor on that, wow. What was that we were smoking?
I think...
That was some of John's dry sift that he found today. Which one was that, John? Was that Medi?
I think it would be Medi. It might be.
got some bite to it.
It'd
Some
be
tang.
Medi or number 4.
Listen, I photographed
tang.
Medi today. John's Medi Kush, that he brought me a clone of, and I grew in my garden. It's on my
Yeah.
Facebook page. The macro photographs of that were really beautiful, man. A couple of shots I've never gotten before, which was a trichome bent away from the camera, and it was almost like I was looking right up her skirt.
Whoa,
And so you
cool.
can see that cuticle going around outwards from the capitate stalk where it plugs in.
Yep.
You can see that little cuticle separate from the rest of the head.
Cool.
Looks pretty cool.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check that out, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
dude.
Definitely.
I was stoked on that.
Wow, thanks for the hit too.
Excellent.
So Marius, I want you to go ahead and play this video. On the other side, we'll have Michael from Champs.
I just took one of those. But thank you.
And you can go ahead anytime, brother.
Wonderful.
So we got Michael coming in?
Yep.
Perfect.
Years or whatever.
All right, it looks like we are back now. And Michael, I hear you on the line there. I think we have you there. Let's just make sure we can hear you okay. We're live on the air right now, Michael. How you doing?
Good. I can hear you guys loud and clear.
You can hear me loud and clear? Okay, it sounds like we can hear you loud and clear as well. So, Michael, good to have you on the show. We were just talking about the Champs Expo and that you guys have been now taking this over from Treating Yourself magazine and Marco Renda. The Treating Yourself Expo, I believe, had 3 annual episodes there. This will be the 4th one, kind of, if you guys are extending that. So this is at the Metro. Did they have 4?
2010, 11, 12, and 13.
Oh, okay. I'm missing a year in there somewhere. I went to all of them, but it all blends together. So, Michael, maybe you can tell us a little bit about Champs and what you guys do down in the States, and then we'll get into what you're doing across the border here.
Okay, yeah, great. Basically, Champs Trade Show started in 1999 back as a hotel trade show, pretty much getting all the smoking accessory companies together so head shops can come to a concentrated area and shop for their wares. So this has been going on for quite some time, and now we've grown to the point where we're doing 5 cities a year, which is pretty amazing.
Cool, man. So now, yeah, 5, you said? Cool. So, and now, of course, the Toronto thing. You guys have decided to take over from Marco. How did that all happen?
Basically, there was an opportunity, and when we found out that Marco wasn't doing the show, we basically stepped up to the plate. But I did it in the right fashion, where I flew up to Toronto and walked in and met Marco, shook his hand, and told him that Champs was going to be taking over the show, and to get his support, and not to stab him in the back, but to say, hey, listen, we've got money, we're going to take over the show, we want your participation, and we basically, that's how it all started back in October of 2013.
Cool. And now, what are you guys planning for the expo? Is it going to be the same kind of stuff we've seen from TY before, or is there anything new?
Right. Well, we basically, the concept was very similar, and we're expanding on it. And what we're expanding on is the integrity of the panels and seminars. We joined up with normal.ca to actually add the integrity to the panels and seminars, so we actually have real good speakers showing up to the show.
Yeah, I talked to Paul from Normal Canada, and it sounds like there's quite a lineup, and that's kind of the stage show happening the entire time. So we'll be shooting that for Pot TV live there. We've got a booth as well. I talked to you earlier about that, Michael. And it sounds like there's a lot of exhibitors on the list. I had a look at the list available at champsca.com. And can you tell us about some of the exhibitors that are going to be there?
Yeah, it's actually really exciting. We have exhibitors coming from Europe and all over America, mostly Canada. This is a Canadian show, so we have mostly Canadians, which is fantastic. We have everything from trimmers to glass artists to activists. It's going to be a well-rounded show. It's everything that TY was and more.
Cool. Now, and you guys are going to have the glass blowing competition as well this year, right?
Well, this year it's a collaboration. We have 5 of the winning glass artists from 2013, and all 5 of the guys are going to be coming up. And we also have a Canadian, Matt Robertson. They basically are going to be creating a glass collaboration that started in Atlantic City, which was the last couple days we had a show down there in New Jersey, and they started the project, and it's basically going to be like a Niagara Falls backdrop with running water and mist. There's a train that's going to be cruising around what is the Niagara Falls area, and on the train is all like a menagerie of all these animals made out of glass that are going to be sitting on the train. So it's actually really cool to see it, and I got to see the start of it in Atlantic City, and I can't wait to see how it's going to finish up in Toronto.
Wow. Cool, man. Now, there was a vapor lounge at the previous installments of TY where medical patients can come in and actually set up, use the different vapes from Volcano and the different companies. Is that happening again?
Yeah, it actually is, and we did have a single vaporizer sponsor that sponsored the whole area, but now, I don't know if you guys seen on the news, the Sublimator, I don't know if he's going to be participating with the show, but we're basically going to be opening up the area to all the other vaporizers so everybody can actually do hands-on delivery devices and learn about the new access to medicine with these vaporizers.
Cool. Yeah, we actually are going to have Enrico Bouchard, the Sublimator guy, on the show today from jail.
Sublimator will definitely be at Champs.
Yes, and they will be there, according to Al the Alchemist, who works with the company, as good friends with Enrico.
That's fantastic. I was hoping that was still going to be coming together, so I'm really happy, and roll out the welcome mat for that. So that's great.
Excellent. Yeah, that should be interesting to talk to Enrico today. But yeah, it sounds like you guys have a lot going on there. The Metro Toronto Convention Center has been pretty decent in the past to everybody, and there haven't really been any problems at all. Have you run into any sort of speed bumps while you've been trying to do this? Do you anticipate any problems at all or anything like that?
No, actually the Metro Toronto Convention Center, which is basically owned by the Ontario government, they are acknowledging vaporizer use and seed sales, which is fantastic. The only bump in the road that we got was on our setup day, which is Thursday, setting up for the event. They asked us if we would wear steel-toed shoes and hard hats during setup.
Oh, really? Wow.
Which is new for us.
Oh, geez. Well, I guess it makes sense. Could drop something big on your toe. But yeah, so I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of great stuff happening. We're going to be there next week, actually broadcasting live. We'd love to have you on the show. Are you going to actually be there, Michael, at the show?
Yes, I am. I will be there. I actually fly into Toronto on Tuesday, and we'll be there throughout the whole duration of the event.
Cool. Now, there were musical acts some years. Is it just a speakers event, this one, or do you have any live music or anything like that planned?
Well, what's interesting is that we've always we talked about having music. A music lineup would be, You know, to actually bring in some talent would be costly, but we are talking about doing it for next year and basically trying to get our fan base that we're going to create to actually comment on who we should have play music for the next event. But for this year, we decided not to. We felt that with all the other vendors that were coming and all the other parties that are happening, it's better to just concentrate on the event and let everybody else create the parties. And there's several parties that are going to be happening from, you know, Vape on the Lake doing their TY Cup, and all the way to local vaporizer, what's it called, vaporizing areas, or vaporizer clubs doing little parties at their spot. And I just found out about a boat cruise that's going to be leaving on Saturday night for 4 hours out on Lake Ontario for a little session on the lake.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think there's a Vapor Central party thrown by Mark Clokeed usually. I don't know if that's happening this time around, but he usually has a jump-in party too.
Yeah, he was having a party for sure.
Is he? Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. We're always there. That one's fun.
Up and dab some bowls with the D now.
Yeah. Yeah, so that should be fun too. Now, yeah, I guess the seed companies that come to these things, in previous years we've had a bunch of Dutch seed companies that have shown up at TY. Has there been any international interest in this year's expo as compared to the other ones? I know that last year it wasn't as much.
Yeah, you know, with the laws that, you know, with the current laws, a lot of people were afraid to commit to the show, and then once the laws kind of put on the back burner and the old laws are still in existence, a lot of guys kind of step forward. But, you know, there's still a lot of concern, and a lot of guys are pretty much watching from the sidelines to see how the show goes off, and which is, you know, I mean, we're all stepping to it and going to participate, but we do have some support, and Serious Seeds from Amsterdam is going to be there, and Dynafem is coming, Expert Seeds, and, you know, there's about, I think there's like 9 or 10 seed shops that have purchased booths, so we're going to actually have a really nice gathering of seed banks.
Very cool. Yeah, we had the chance to attend Cannabis this year and see how they did that over there. We also went to the High Times Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam and saw the expo there. Big difference between those two. Yeah, it's funny how there can be, you know, some of the expos are done, you know, in a very professional manner. Others kind of seem like they're more back alley.
Well, it blew my mind because Spain, you know, they have this reputation of being poverty-stricken,
yeah,
all kinds of stuff, and their expo was so put together. It was amazing. And Amsterdam, which is very wealthy and you know, noted for its business and all kinds of stuff, they basically struggled to find a location because the authorities were like, we don't want it, we don't want to have it. So they were stuck in this little disheveled, you know, boathouse basically with leaky roofs.
Yeah,
it was a full different.
Well, and of course they were checking people at the door for their weed. Yeah, you could only bring in 5 grams. It was all. Searched me first. Yeah, they had got.
You were the first person searched.
First person.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well, they knew where to look. Then, I guess
they did Jer a favor. They're like, let me look at your weed. They looked at his weed and they're like, hey, you got a gram of shake here. Here's your buds back.
They took out all the leaf out of the bottom of my thing and said, here, take your buds.
They gave him 5 grams of bud and kept a gram of shake.
Yeah, but they weighed it up too. They made it all just right on the dot and everything. It was pretty sad. Yeah, they had a big bucket actually that they were throwing all the stuff in, like this big, huge barrel. And so by the end of the day, that barrel must have been packed with stuff. They must have had to have done drops halfway through the day or something. But we were spying on the barrel for a while and trying to figure out a way of rolling it out of there. But unsuccessfully. Trying to win it. Yeah, they should have had a contest at the end of the day. Yeah. How many pounds are in the barrel? Yeah, well, and so, Michael, have you been to any of the European expos? And have you, like, I mean, obviously you're interested in this subject. Have you been to the Cannabis Expo?
You know, it's been, I was planning on going this year, but since I was working with Skunk Magazine, my friends over at Skunk, Attilio and Johnny, promised me that they would spread the word for me. I actually was fortunate enough to judge sativas as a celebrity judge over at the High Times Cup in Amsterdam. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I've always participated in all the events leading up to this. So I've been around the block many times. I've been in the industry since 1996, starting in the hemp industry and working my way up.
Very cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on today, and I really do seriously appreciate it. I'd love to talk to you when you have the chance at the actual expo. I'm sure you'll be running around like busy. But yeah, we're going to...
We'll get Terry from the Sublimator to call him.
Right, yeah, we'll also make sure that Terry from the Sublimator gives you guys a call and figures all that stuff out. Mr. Al says.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm really happy to actually speak to you guys, and I'll definitely make more time. And I just want to announce a little announcement. If anybody needs free tickets, we're doing a promotion right now on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. If you could take a photo of yourself with the Champs Canada poster, whether it's at your local smoke shop or on the back of your phone, just take a picture of it, post it up on Facebook, let us know about it, and we'll get you guys some free passes.
Excellent. We'll post that up on our Facebook page as well. Thanks a lot, Michael, for coming on. Michael Czerhoniak of,
all right, thanks, guys.
of the Champs Expo Canada. That's May 23rd to 25th at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. There's going to be lots of people there, so if you can get there, please do. If you can't get there, tune into Pot TV, and we'll have the whole thing broadcast live for you. Thanks, Michael. We'll see you next weekend.
All right, guys, stay high. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. All right. So, yeah, I'm excited. What you guys are going out on Wednesday, you say?
Yeah, we...
Thursday's setup day, but I don't think we'll be getting there till Thursday. So, the Friday's the industry day, and then the weekend is for the public. Should be a fun one. And this time, Jer from the store downstairs is coming with us, too. That's going to be fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Should be interesting.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're definitely going to be puffing some hash and doing what we do best, chilling, enjoying.
Yeah.
Last year was really good, a lot of fun. See what this year is going to be like. It seems like Michael's got a lot of good stuff going on. Looks like he's been plugging away. I've dealt with him quite a bit. Talked to him today for over probably about a half an hour. And I know Mark's been chatting away with him. And hey, see what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get more.
The glass thing sounds cool. Last year, the glass thing was amazing. It was some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. You know, these Japanese glass blowers won the competition, and they did this crazy little sippy cup piece. Yeah, and it was just had this intricate sort of sacred geometrical design done in these miniature little dots that looked like it would have taken thousands of hours of work, but these guys did it in just the weekend when they were sitting there. You know, like just intricate little dots, thousands and thousands of them. It was pretty remarkable. Oh, what?
Look at those little dots.
Oh, is this the same crew?
No.
No, it looks. Well, this doesn't. It's a different style for sure.
It's a different style, but yeah.
That's beautiful as well.
It's got thousands of, well, not thousands, but hundreds of little dots all through it. All little air chop.
Oh no. Oh, well, is he? We're not sure about actually getting Enrico on the show.
Well, I just talked
Oh,
to
they're
Terry.
trying.
It's 10 to 5.
He was supposed to call at 5.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. Yeah, 5 o'clock is the time. If it gets too far after 5, then we'll know that something happened. He wasn't able to get a hold of us. We don't actually know. So just from my conversation with him earlier, what he's told me is that he was in jail, where they had basically arrested him. Now they've accused him of selling seeds. And when he was in this jail cell, they haven't given him anything. They haven't let him talk to a doctor. Now, Enrico, well, they did. They eventually let him talk to a doctor, but the first couple nights that he was there, 3 nights that he was there, they wouldn't allow him to talk to anybody. Somebody in the jail, like one of the guards was yelling at him saying, "Oh, you're a fucking piece of shit. You're a piece of shit." And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm not a piece of shit. All I did was, you know, I've only been accused of selling seeds." And he says, "Oh, that shit is poison. It poisons little kids. That's what you sell to little kids. You fucking piece of shit," and all this. So things are a little different there in Quebec, I think, than out here in Vancouver.
Well, they are not part of Canada, are they?
Right. Well, No,
That's
they're still
complete
part of
different
Canada.
Yeah, but they are. But they're different laws. They're completely.
Yeah.
They're not. Do they have an MMA? Are they legally allowed to grow in Quebec through our federal system?
Yeah, sure they are. They're still part of Canada.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole laws around it.
Yep. No, they are. But there are different laws in the provincial courts, I'm sure, and
there you go.
Just like any other province, though, right? But yeah, so we'll tune in. Hey, sweetheart, how are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna go to school now.
How was your bong rip?
Big Canada.
Yeah, of course you can. Here, we'll load you up with some of the... Now, did we figure out what this was? Marijuana Man told me it was Seedman's Haze crossed with Nepalese, but is that actually this stuff that... It almost smells like the Tangie.
No, he got it confused.
What was it? What is it?
It's Sweet Skunk crossed to Cinderella. It said Cinderella 99.
Oh, Sweet Skunk crossed with Cinderella 99. All right.
Just look behind
Well,
me.
it's making me have a hard time talking today.
Angel on your shoulder.
An angel on my shoulder.
It sure smells. It smells like it has a lot of that citrus sort of.
That comes from the Sweet Skunk.
Yeah, it's almost like the Tangie or something. It's not as citrusy. It's not as orange burst as that, but it's on the way. It's getting close to Agent Orange. So you're gonna hit Lovecraft here. Designed by the one and only Redbeard from Redbeard Glass. You can watch his show every Saturday at 4 p.m. on Pot TV.
This is Haze to Nepalese.
Oh, this is Haze to Nepalese.
But it's Burmese Haze, not Seedman's Haze.
Oh, yeah, that's a little different.
It's called I Spice 12.
What is it?
High Spice 12.
Actually, wait, that might actually be what this is. Al, here, take a look. Because that smells very similar. Smell that.
No. I'm telling you, this is the Sweet Skunk to...
Is that? Okay. Yeah, okay.
It's frozen on that TV.
It's like that one's kind of like pineapples.
Do we
Thanks
know
for
who's
having me on,
responsible for
Jer.
that?
I gotta take off.
All right, my friend. Thanks a lot.
We'll see you at Champs.
Bubble Man in the house. Okay,
Greg's walking
Lovecraft.
in.
Oh, yeah. Red Beer's in the chat right now. And I didn't put all the weed in here.
I am also taking
Redbeard
off.
was worried it got broke. No, it didn't get
What?
broken again. Redbeard has already fixed this thing once after I busted it so carelessly. And that'll never happen again. Knock on. Bam.
Hi, Redbeard.
So,
Hey, Red.
yeah, that was cool of Michael to come on. And I'm looking forward to the thing. Mel, you're not going to the Champs Expo, are you, this year? It's a shame.
This
It's too
is my
bad.
first one I'm not going to.
First one she's not going to.
School.
Why? Oh, school. Okay.
School's important. Makes me smart.
School's important.
Yeah, you're in school now. Actual responsibilities. Redbeard says hi, John B. And hi, Mel.
Peace, dude.
All right, we're off to school. I'm gonna turn her into a sexy man.
Oh, very
It's gonna be
nice.
glorious.
Take pictures. I want to see them.
We'll see him on Facebook.
Do you want a bong rip? Yeah, you want one? Okay.
Come on, Sam.
Your friend Sam. All right.
Also, I'm working at the Cloverdale Rodeo all weekend with New Image, doing
Are
cuts
you?
and bruises and express makeovers and shit.
Topless bull riding?
Oh, I hope.
Yeah. All right. Hi there. How's it going? I'm very good.
Well-
Here's a lighter for you. Oh, you got one.
Pot TV, this is Sam. Sam, this is Pot TV.
Hi, Sam. Now, speaking of Sam, we have a group called SAM in town today. Patrick Kennedy of Sensible Approach to Marijuana. That's what it's called? No, I'm sorry. It's Smart Approach to Marijuana. And it's Sensible, Silly Approach to Marijuana. That's what it really is. That was Marijuana Man's 2 cents
On
there.
that note,
Right,
everybody,
off to school.
Okay, bye.
peace.
Now we can-
Always.
Pot TV.
Jeremiah. Well, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have fun at school.
Have a good one.
And Marius, would you like a bong rip?
She makes it really, really, really hot.
Excellent. Yeah, so earlier today, we actually went to this restaurant that's just down the street from us here in Gastown, where Patrick Kennedy was appearing. And the guy, oh man, this guy is such a hilarious guy. And actually, we have Brian here, who I was going to bring up to talk about these hilarious characters, because he's been doing some research on them. Brian, why don't you go? You can introduce yourself, and then
I
grab
do
the mic. You can take it out of there.
I do a life coaching service here in Vancouver, basically helping people integrate cannabis into a healthy lifestyle. And one of the major problems I have with
Yeah, that's all right. We can hear you.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
One of the major problems I have with SAM is that they are ideologically opposed to the idea that cannabis can be integrated into a healthy lifestyle. They are digging up old demons. I'm calling this neo-prohibitionism.
Yeah.
And I have a huge problem with it. In fact, when they kicked me out of their meeting today, I've never felt so like, this is a friendly place, Canada, right? So usually people are pretty nice here, and I'm an American citizen, and I think he's doing a disservice to Americans by coming in and telling a community that it's a very smart group of people here in Vancouver who've dealt with cannabis, who've thought about some of these complicated issues, and they're basically having a closed-door meeting telling Canadians how they should, treat underage smoking. And they're not even letting us have a dialogue. That's the big shame, is that there's a lot of really great people here like Dana Larson, Sensible BC, people here at Pot TV, and we're like being targeted and excluded from engaging in a dialogue with SAM. So that's a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the arguments are really these old Reefer Madness style arguments, Like they're just, as you said, bringing up stuff that nobody even argues anymore, and bringing up things that are so totally rejected by the scientific community in general. Dana had a press release out front of the restaurant today. Now we're going to try and play the video from that. Marius can't find it on the camera, but I'm going to go and assist him in a few minutes here. But we'll try and play that video. This group that's fronted by Patrick Kennedy also includes people like David Frum, who's a well-known Canadian douchebag. He really is too. This guy is he's a former George W. Bush speechwriter, but he's a Canadian political scientist guy, and he's just constantly been on the TV saying the things that no other person will stoop low enough to say. And so, when he's met up with that type of ilk, this is the wrong group. They obviously are full of shit. Now, Jody also debated this Pamela something or other. What is her name now? Pamela something, I can't remember. But Pamela from SAM. Pam from SAM. And she accused Jody. She read that Dr. Seuss book. And Mario says he's read the Dr. Seuss book called that. But yeah, she on the air actually started personally attacking Jody on Global TV when they had their debate, and saying things like, "Who do you work for?" and all this kind of crazy stuff, and was really getting aggressive and angry. And Jody really handled herself well, but it was pretty remarkable to see.
They're about to hear something from Sensible BC. They had, as much work as they went to try to exclude us from getting in, we did get a person undercover in their super private meeting, and there's a press release. It's on the way out, and it's going to have some pretty revealing stuff about the stuff they're talking about. One thing, quote, that I'm hearing is that one of the speakers, maybe Kennedy, said that we have this divine spark. It got very, very religious for a second. And that cannabis is repressing this divine spark. And there's some really disturbing rhetoric coming out of this movement. And really, like, one of the really disturbing things that I hear is, marijuana is the insidious drug, even worse than cocaine and heroin, because it slowly burns us out. In other words, this is a long, slow road to nowhere. That's the kind of rhetoric that's coming out of this organization, and it's very ideological, very, very negative, very insidious, very anti-science, and kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, well, it's bizarre that these guys have money. I mean, I sometimes wonder who it is that's really backing these groups.
We know who it is. Okay, so
alcohol lobby, maybe.
Well, no, alcohol is the old Kennedy money is alcohol. We know that, but I don't think it's a clear connection between they want to increase their profit margin, so they want to suppress marijuana. I think the real money is in these rehabs. Like, what this group wants to do is mandate treatment for cannabis. If you smoke pot, like I smoke pot about once or twice a week, right? According to their definitions, I'm an addict.
Yeah.
Like I'm an addict with no future, and Okay, so anyways, they're going to tell me that, and then they're going to whisk me away to a rehab center that I guess the government's going to pay for because I can't afford a professional rehab center.
Right.
And this guy Kennedy, like he's
They're backed by the Addictions Foundation.
yeah, like he's done work in mental health. He's received accolades for mental health. I kind of believe that at a level he really cares about this issue, and he's probably done some good things. But right now he thinks that maybe he's going to do this new SAM initiative and make a little money off the side by getting kickbacks.
Now we have Enrico calling in here.
Oh, big.
Let's
okay.
answer this. We'll get him on speakerphone here. Hello, this is Cannabis Culture News Live.
Hi, Jeremiah.
Hey, how you doing, Jeremiah?
Hey guys, I'm assuming this is Terry and Enrico.
Yes, it is.
Good to hear from you two. Now, Enrico, you're calling from which prison is this that you're in right now?
Hey, brother.
And that's Al the Alchemist.
I am in Orsay. What's up, Al? I am in Orsayville prison down in Quebec City. It's a provincial prison. I've been held here since they picked me up on the way back from Spain. They grabbed me straight from the airport. They threw me in a car and they took me straight to the jail here in Quebec.
Wow. So, Enrico, what is it that they're charging you with? How did this all happen? Can you give us the whole story?
Well, the whole story. Okay. My charge are for traffic of weed.
Uh-oh, it sounds like we lost you there, Enrico.
Trafficking seeds? We're cutting
Uh-oh. Enrico, we're having a hard time hearing you there. We're getting a little feedback on the line. Hold on just a second here. Yeah, maybe give it another try there. We're having a hard time hearing you. Are you there, Enrico?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Good. So what happened is about a month ago was the police arrested 40 illegal grow-ups in the city.
Okay.
Every one of the grow-ups that got arrested made a deposition that they bought their material in a legal shop called the Hydro. It is a completely legal shop that sells hydroponic material. And also they told the police that they bought their seeds directly from me.
So, sorry.
So basically,
there's full definition of people that were arrested saying that they bought material from Hydrobag and they bought their seeds from me. Therefore, the police of prevention police plus the police, they got together and they decided to an operation. The operation was Operation Gastown, it's called.
Right. Now
They arrested owner of 100 legal hydro shops just for advising people on how to grow plants.
Yeah, and Enrico, we're having a very hard time hearing you here.
yeah, we're getting some major. It's cutting out.
Yeah,
quite a
it's
bit.
just there seems to be an issue with the telephone there from the prison or something. Terry, are you able to actually hear him there?
I'm able to hear them a little bit.
Yeah, it's.
I hear the sound on you guys. So.
Yeah, we hear you perfectly, but yeah, it's really, really hard to hear Enrico.
Well, Terry, just explain to him better.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can hear you better there. But yeah, Enrico, so what I was wondering here is if this was just about seeds. I mean, there's seed companies all over the place. I mean, it seems like it's very strange that they would go after you for something. Now you're saying that you actually did sell these seeds, or what is this? What were these seeds about?
Well, they sent 4 undercover to me to buy at 4 different times marijuana seeds from me in a souvenir package.
And they were just small packages, and you actually sold these to these undercover officers.
I sold the seed to them. They asked me how do they germinate them.
Yeah.
Well, I told them what to do, but it was never my intention for them to go and plant those seeds and start selling weed.
Right. You thought these were medical patients.
Exactly, and I
asked them, I said, are you medical? They're telling me yes, and I sell them seeds. You know what? I will sell seeds still to anybody that is sick, because this is what I do. It's good medicine, you're sick, well, I'll give you some seed, man. It's just that never in my life, I ever expected that I would be treated like this, taken like a criminal in a jail, like I'm with like attempted murderer people all around me.
Right.
I'm selling seeds. It's what is going on here?
Right. I mean, it seems
it's
a little
fucking,
strange.
It's fucking sickening, bro.
Now, but Enrico, again, you didn't have anything to do with these pounds and pounds of pot. How is this all connected to that? They've got you in the news
because they've all bought their seeds from one location, who is affiliated with
Let me
Enrico.
explain what happened. They did a bust
Allegedly.
before of 40 completely different grow-ups do with anything.
Yeah.
Each other. But all of them bought their material at this grow shop.
Yeah. I see. So everybody bought their material at the same grow shop, and that's the connection between all of these people.
Yeah.
And so
when they stuck them all together, everybody said that they bought their stuff from Ice. They bought their fans from Hydropec. They bought their land. Therefore, what they did is they charge Ice for production of.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're breaking up, Enrico. We can't hear you anymore, unfortunately.
But I mean, are they going to go after Philips?
They charge Hydropec.
You know what I mean, for producing the lights that were.
Production of marijuana.
Right, and this is so they're
And
going after
Hydrotech is just a.
It's a grow shop.
Yeah.
Right, so they're going after a grow shop. They're going after a guy who sold them some seeds. Insane. Yeah, it's totally ridiculous.
It's a fucking travesty, bro.
No, it really doesn't make any sense. So, Enrico, have they told you, like, do you have a bail hearing, or what comes next?
I'm supposed to have a bail this Wednesday. I'm supposed to come out. You there?
He's there.
Cutting out again, brother.
Yeah. Sorry, Terry, did you hear what he said there?
I didn't.
Terry, talk to him. Repeat after me, please, baby.
Yeah, it's tough. I think everybody's having a hard time hearing you.
For them to listen and answer back what I just said. Wake up, my love.
Yeah, well, now
So what I...
it's crazy. Now, Terry, maybe you can tell us quickly. Enrico
But
was
they've only got Enrico for seeds because he's got nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And it's when he was arrested, Enrico told me earlier today that some of the guards were really rude to him and were saying things like he was a piece of shit, and they didn't give him access to a doctor. Yeah, how is the treatment? Has been really bad, hasn't it?
Yeah, they had denied him to see the doctor in the beginning. They've denied him his medication. It's only today that he was able to get some Motrin, one Motrin, and today's the first day that he's had a bed to sleep in. For the last few days, he's been on the floor.
Wow.
Laying on the floor, yeah. Wow. And the cells, they're not very nice. It's pretty cold in there.
Yeah, they're very overcrowded, and he's got a condition with hypothermia. They've only given him one blanket.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and so if he gets cold again, that can set things off for him, right?
And yeah, when he does, he shivers, and then his muscles go into contraction, and then he's got really bad physical conditions after that.
He basically goes into seizures that are induced by hypothermia.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not a pleasant thing.
Yeah. Wow.
It's fucking bullshit.
It's crazy that, of all things,
But
seeds.
what's important, he says, is four grow shops, fully independent, 40
You're cutting out, Terry.
40 grow ops.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
cutting out,
Karen.
40 independent grow ops have been arrested a month and a half before.
Wow. So the police in Quebec are really doing some crazy stuff.
They're not cool.
I'm going to try and contact them and see if they'll talk about what it is exactly they're going after here and why they would be going after somebody for seeds. Now, there's only a few other people in Canada who have ever been busted for seeds. We have on this block alone seed companies up and down all over the place. I'm looking at one out the window right now. I can see the entrance to it from where I'm sitting.
We just had the head of Champs and the Champs Expo here in Canada saying they had permission from the Ontario government to sell seeds at their expo.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
know like this is crazy.
What they did is they busted these guys, and all these guys, they signed papers where they bought their lights, where they bought their hydroponic equipment, and where they bought their seeds.
Yeah.
Repeat that.
and everybody signed it and said, I bought it at this grow shop and I bought my seeds from Enrico.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, in that, my name came up almost in like a lot of them. A lot of those things, those guys said that I sold them the seed personally. So the government is accusing me of traffic because I sold seed to a guy that planted it and he grew marijuana with it.
Yeah. And now you're guilty of the marijuana.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
But it was never in my intention for him to sell the seeds, to grow the seeds.
Yeah, it's kind of, we're having a hard time hearing you there, but...
They also arrested the owner of the grow shop.
Yeah, they also arrested the owner of the grow shop.
Seized all his money just because he sells grow equipment.
Yeah.
They seized all of his money just because he sells grow equipment.
Right. That's like, you know, accusing the guy at the hardware store and arresting him because somebody killed his wife with a hammer. Yeah, you can't, I mean, it's completely ludicrous. I don't think any of this stuff will stand up in court. I mean, it can't.
No, I can't.
I mean, look at the precedents already. The thing is, they had to get rid of Mark Emery out of the damn country in order to get him charged. They knew that they wouldn't have any legs to stand on here. And then the only other person was Richard Bagdadlian, who was charged with trafficking seeds or selling seeds, and he got a $200 fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I think precedence has already been set in court.
Yeah, Enrico, I don't think you have much to worry about on this one. I mean, it seems pretty ridiculous. And I just, I mean, I hopefully you have some good lawyers on this one. But we didn't, about the bail hearing, Terry, do you know when that's happening or what's happening?
Wednesday, I think he said.
It's Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be Wednesday.
On bail this Wednesday. All of us comes out on bail this Wednesday. But Jeremiah, listen to me. I am being charged of selling marijuana seeds. Nothing else. All the other things that you hear in the newspaper, it's other people that got caught doing this. They just framed us. They signed our name. They said that we sold them lamps. They said that Hydrobeck sold them lamps. Now they're arresting everybody for production of marijuana when we have nothing to do with it. These are legitimate businesses these guys are having. Me, all right, I sold seeds, I get it. But going to jail for that, I don't get it.
No, I mean, it's completely insane. But wow. And, I mean, it's great to talk to you, Enrico. I'm sorry that it's under these conditions. But I'm sure that things will be, you know, a little more clear after you get out on Wednesday and you can talk to some lawyers about this. But yeah, they actually had pictures on the news of you, Enrico, where they had your face and they had like a little tree and they had you like connected to all these other dealers and people and traffickers. And it was really trying to, you know, make you look like you were part of a big mafia organization or something.
I sold seed on me. Jeremiah, I don't lie. I don't have no reason to lie here. I got nothing to hide. I'm very, very up about everything I do in life. I'm up front, everything. I'm a marijuana activist the best that I can. Never, ever in this situation I was part of any type of cartel, gang, or anything. May the Lord strike me dead if I lie on this one. I got caught for selling fucking seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, and not very many seeds at that either.
No, it's really bullshit, man.
5 packages of seeds. Oh, jeez.
And they all say souvenirs on it.
They say souvenirs on them. Yeah, wow. Well, you know, Enrico, I hope that we can talk to you again soon and find out exactly what's going on. I'm sure by next week that some things will have changed. So maybe we can...
You think this is going to stop me, Jeremy?
What's that?
This is not going to stop me. That just made me mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking
no
rights,
kidding.
brother.
Nothing.
Now you're going to see me do some... Now you're going to see me put my money where my mouth is. You'll see. Instead of going traveling and doing this, that, you'll see a big difference in my type of, how do you call this? Activism. I'll have a different type of activism in the future, Jeremiah.
Well, awesome, Enrico. I think you already do a great job, and you've always been a good friend to us and always part of the family down here. So we wish you the best of luck, my friend.
Love you guys.
Yeah, we love you too.
All right, brother. Keep your chin up.
I'm not a fucking pot dealer. I don't deal weed. That's not what I do. I got a good business going for me. The seeds, I always sold them on compassion. I asked those cops when they came to me without knowing, are you sick? They tell me, yes, we're sick. Then I sold them the seeds. I made a mistake, I guess. I probably should have never done that. I probably should have never wanted to help those guys. Well, it's my bad. My bad. I learned, though.
Well, it's kind of an entrapment thing where they're telling you that they're sick people,
yeah,
and then they take it away and they're actually fucking cops. They're scumbags.
Yeah, it's big entrapment.
Yeah, that should be against the fucking law. I mean, that's preying on people's sympathies and being like, please help me, please, please. And then they're like, fuck, and then turn around and do something to you.
What they did to
Unbelievable.
They went to the shop, the hydro shop. They asked for how to grow weed, and they bought $10,000 worth of equipment to grow weed in the shop.
Right. Right, and so the...
So they got a lot of, like, the guys told them what to do. They gave $500 while they were recording everything they did, and then they never came back, and they charged them for complicity and attempt to, how do you call this, for not complicity, they charged them for production of marijuana, for selling them marijuana equipment. 5 guys here are going to jail for production of marijuana when they did not produce marijuana.
No. Wow. No, it's...
They were just selling marijuana in a marijuana, like, you know, like lamps and everything you need to grow weed, or any type of plant for that matter.
It's obvious that there's some overzealous police officers involved in this one. I mean, it's just...
That came from up there. You know, you have to... The way I see it, Jeremiah, is all these big companies that paid for these big licenses and nobody's buying. So the SQ got a lot... And show got a lot of money from the federal to go and kill every one of these little things, so there's nothing in the street. So everybody's ready to go to the commercial ones.
Right. Yeah, well, this is all...
I mean, remember, to stop us on the May 31st? And they couldn't stop us. Now they go after every 4 lamps, 3 lamps, 2 lamps they can't find. And even after the guy that sell hydroponic equipment.
Right. No, I think it's a brutal thing, and as we start to legalize, you're going to see some the police departments do these last, you know, dying grasps. And of course, right now with these mandatory minimums and all this stuff, you know, this is treading on dangerous ground when they're trying to associate you for just selling seeds with these big grow operations, and that's what they could, you know, put under conspiracy or whatever it is. They have all these super, you know, loopholes basically. And that's how they got Mark when they got him away. They had to get him on conspiracy charges because they said that every seed that he sold was actually a plant that grew out, and they charged him with millions and millions of plants being grown. Like
it's
what?
Like 1.1 million pounds or something.
Me on my side, I will never be guilty to this.
Well, yeah, and now...
I cannot do this for the rest of us. I can't plead guilty to this. I gotta go through trial and everything. I'm not gonna plead guilty to this. Otherwise, everybody that has a seed in their hand now will be in danger.
That's true. Fucking rights, brother.
Yeah, that is right. Now, is there the chance of getting out of Quebec at all and having this somewhere else, having the case here in BC or some other place?
That's what I was hoping. I was wondering if there was a possibility for me once I'm out of here to get this whole case transferred to BC, while I will be treated, while I would be judged, I would call this, I will be judged equally, in equality, not by a judge that already got me sentenced.
Right. Well, Enrico, I wish you the best of luck, my friend, and I hope this does work out for you. One way or another, we'll be keeping in touch with you over the next few weeks to find out exactly what's happening. And
Make sure you give me a call Wednesday when you're out.
Right. And also, guys, we just had Michael from Champs on the show, and he was wondering about the Sublimator and your guys' appearing at the Champs Expo, and if you guys were still going to be there.
Yes, we still are going to be there. I'm going to have a team there. If I'm not there, no matter what, Sublimator keeps going. It's just a damn thing the road, guys. I got busted for seed. It's a freaking joke. It's a joke. I can't believe I'm here. I'm laughing at all this here. The only thing I feel bad is my beautiful woman home is all sad and like all by herself because they left her at the airport with no money in Montreal.
That is such bullshit.
Yeah,
man.
no, it doesn't. It's totally ridiculous. Seeds. Nobody, anybody who ever gets busted for seeds gets off with next to nothing. So, except for obviously if they ship you down to the States, I'd be worried, but I wouldn't really be too worried about it in Canada. So, Enrico, thank you so much, my friend, for coming on. We really love you a lot, and we'll be talking to you again soon. And you too, Terry. Thanks for coming on the show.
Ever had anybody calling you from jail?
That was awesome that you called from jail. That's kind of
That's fucking epic, brother.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, and it was nice to actually see you on the news, but they were using our Strain Hunters footage of us commandeering the Strain Hunters vehicle and you jumping off the roof and stuff. So we were getting some exposure.
Oh yes, we're gonna sell more machines, that's for sure. We're completely like national worldwide.
Yeah, exactly. They're just making you famous. So this is just going to backfire in their face anyway and bring you more attention, and you'll sell more Sublimators now. So if people do want to find
I would like to mention to you guys, at first I was ashamed a bit, but I am in no shame. I want you to know that I never was whatever rumor is that I could be part of a gang, things like this. Fuck, you guys know me. You know me, you saw me, you know who I am, you spend time with me. I'm none of that.
No, we know that, brother. No.
Boy.
Yeah, we know that for sure. Well, anyways, thanks a lot, Enrico. We really appreciate it, and we'll have you back again soon. See you later, Rico.
I'll be out on Wednesday, and we'll do a conference call. I call you, Jeremiah, and I've been sober for 5 days now. They're not accepting my federal license here and my doctor prescription. And to tell you the truth, I had to call the citizen thing because they wouldn't even give me an Advil with my. I got like 40 a fracture of my body. I'm in very bad shape. They wouldn't even give me an Advil. Been 5 days here. They put me on the floor and everything. It was pretty hardcore.
Wow, that's brutal, man. It's a human rights issue when it comes to that kind of thing. It's just
This is a human rights issue. When I come out, I'm going to talk to some serious people about this. I know I'm going to find people that's going to understand what's going on. As soon as they see the charge, it is just so bogus.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Enrico, and we'll see you. If we don't see you at Champs, then we'll see somebody. But hopefully, you'll be out soon and at large again. I didn't hear that last thing, Enrico.
I'm going to be at Champs because I'm coming out on Wednesday.
Oh, excellent, awesome. Okay, we'll see you soon then, Enrico. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
No.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Pot TV.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see you soon. All right. So Enrico and Terry, wow.
Yeah, I was going to point out about Enrico's case. That's like one of the historical problems with Prohibition. What Harry Anslinger back with the Federal Narcotics Bureau tried to do was he tried to find the big kingpins back when they were trying to get their bearings with Prohibition, and they ended up busting the people who weren't like big dealers or gang members. They ended up just not being able to deliver what they promised they would deliver. So they end up busting like really small time participants in cannabis distribution, medicine, etc.
Yep. Well, and that's usually what happens is all the smaller guys get swept up, and the big drug dealers don't pay any price at all and can continue to do whatever they're doing, and they don't give a fuck. They're the one making all the money from it, and it's just more fodder for the system. at the bottoms, the people at the top just don't get touched. Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, in this case, it's just so brutal that it's over seeds. I mean, nobody in Canada gets arrested for seeds, so it seems a little.
Well, Anslinger, I've been reading that book, what was it, Smoke Signals by Martin Lee, and Anslinger was actually trying to bust jazz musicians. He would have people infiltrate jazz clubs to try to get a lead on some drug kingpin, and they ended up maybe, they might bust a saxophone player, but they could never find the kingpin because it's a plant that grows in the ground, right? I mean, you can't have like a mass production facility in Mexico to make bud because everybody can make bud. You plant a seed in the ground and harvest
it. And even when it does come down to it, most of the people out there that are selling pot are mom and pops. The gangs do have some hold on the marijuana industry, but it's not that much. I don't think it's as much.
It's their coffee money. It's for the
the cocaine is what they do mostly.
Cocaine is what is their bread and butter. Marijuana is their coffee money. So.
Yeah. And they definitely ship. They sell a lot of marijuana too, but there's a lot of mom and pop growers. There's a lot of independent growers. There's a lot of people who are not gang members who grow. Like when I think of people who are growing pot, and I mean obviously I'm biased for my community, but I know lots and lots and lots and lots of growers of all sorts and have my whole life. And I know lots of gangsters, and none of those gangsters really grow weed, so I don't know a lot of gangster growers. I know a few, but not very many.
There's a lot to learn about growing weed. I know nothing about it, but the people that know stuff about growing weed, they boggle my mind. The amount of science, books, research that goes into that stuff. I like to smoke it, but
I mean,
if I'm a gangbanger and I'm just interested in money pussy weed, I don't have time to learn how to grow.
You can only hire the ones who do, and then that's it. It does happen here. I know here in Vancouver, that's kind of a racist thing too, because they go after the Vietnamese community.
It's always been a racist thing. It's always been a racist thing. That marijuana, the term, and what eventually led to prohibitionist policy was race. The Mexicans were associated with it. The blacks were associated with smoking pot. And the irony there is that one of the cool things about marijuana culture, as it was and as it is that it really brings people together from all creeds, from all religions, from all races. It's a cultural aphrodisiac. I mean, and that's it's really sad that you still have people like SAM who have these closed discussion groups where they're advocating a backwards ideology to a limited audience. Drinking alcohol and talking about sending me to rehab.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what they're doing in there. They're sitting there drinking. The restaurant serves all kinds of booze and everything. There's signs for beer.
Amy Winehouse should be their theme song.
Yeah.
Think I'm gonna go to rehab.
Make some money for Patrick Kennedy, right?
Now, I wanted to play, before we get into the actual video I shot at the restaurant out front down here in Gastown, outside of Patrick Kennedy's appearance. And now I did see Patrick Kennedy inside. And I went in there and I was able to get a couple photos of him while he was posing for the cameras. But then I started yelling at him, and he quickly shuffled away down the hallway before I could get to him and get any questions out of him. But
hey, it's Jeremiah from Pot TV.
I should have
fucker out of here.
I should have really gone up to him and been like, went for the handshake thing, like I really want to talk to you, and been like a fanboy, and then turned it all around on him. I thought of that afterwards,
pinky
but
and underneath his pinky and ring finger as you shook the hand with the 3-finger
give him the Mason shake.
Yeah. He probably would have spoken to you then.
Yeah. Now, and these guys are bringing their form of Reefer Madness to Vancouver. And last night, actually, there was another Reefer Madness thing going on. We're going to bring Corey on the show to talk about this later. Corey was at the Reefer Madness show last night. It was really hilarious. It was a play that was done here in Vancouver up at the CBC building called Reefer Madness the Musical. And they really did a great job of this play. It was really funny. The music was great. It was hilarious. It was modeled after the movie. And but it was, they had their own touches on it. And it was the story was different and stuff, but it was quite good. I got a picture or two, but I'm going to write a little blog post this weekend about it. But yeah, if you have a chance to see this musical, I think it is not just playing here in town, but it's been around other places. I think this particular group, though, may have just been in town. Yeah. These guys who did it. 2 shows Saturday, 2 shows Sunday. So if you're in Vancouver, just come and see it. Yeah, Corey, we'll bring you on in a sec. I want to play this video first, though. So Marius, if you can play now, this is a video of Jody Emery on the global show, Unfiltered with Jill Kropp. Jody was one of the regular panelists on this show until...
Talking to Pam from SAM.
Talking to Pam from SAM.
Schooling Pam from SAM.
Now, this was a debate. I think Jody was caught a little off guard by some of the personal attacks that this woman was lobbing at her.
Jody has some of the best composure ever.
Yeah, she was very composed in this and under some serious pressure, too. So I thought she did a great job. She was, afterwards, she was like critical of her own appearance, but I thought she did a really great job.
Yeah.
So I wanted to play this on the show as well so we could get a sort of tone of what these SAM people are really about before we play Dana's rebuttal to some of their bullshit. But yeah,
You're scary.
I don't actually have. We should have had a clip of Patrick Kennedy or something. But this Pam from SAM is more than enough. My goodness, the mind state of these people.
I
is
heard
off
hash
the
can
charts.
get people off of weed, though.
Hash can get them off weed.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
what I've heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the gateway out.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Marius, go ahead and throw down. This is BC1 Global Unfiltered with Jill Kropp and Jody Emery and Pam from SAM.
Talking about decriminalization or legalization, what we are talking about is very much in line with what the chiefs of police have proposed, and that is giving police further discretion or optionality when it comes to the treatment of small amounts of marijuana. That is to say that the criminal code offenses would still be available to police, but we would look at options that would give police the ability, much like the treatment of open liquor, that would allow the police to ticket those type of offenses.
All righty. Minister Peter MacKay kind of felt like that came from left field. Not really. You know, he mentioned the chiefs of police. They made this very clear to the Tory government that this is what they are interested in. But I'm not sure that everyone was expecting Ottawa to agree. Joining us now to talk about pot, Jody Emery, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. And on the phone, Pam McCall, who is with Smart Approaches to Marijuana Canada. Hi, Pam.
Hi there.
Jody, in your opinion, does this signal a major shift by the Conservative government, or are they simply falling in line what they figure is becoming the more common thought about marijuana?
I think they're taking the smallest possible step that they can based on the pressure that exists, not only from the Canadian public, which a majority wants legalization, but also from the rest of the world. We have Colorado, Washington with legalization. There's 20 states with decrim. There's 19 or so with medical. I mean, the momentum is definitely on the side of law reform, but the Conservative government of Canada has always been very much against that. But they don't want to look like dinosaurs all the time, so they're doing something small to appease the public who want reform, but I don't think it goes far enough, and I think it could actually be even worse.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it could be more of a punishment? I mean, we talk often, you know, much of this is at police discretion right now, and what you hear anecdotally is that typically people, if they get caught with joints, pot, if it's a small amount, cops just turn a blind eye.
Yeah, and there are a lot of police officers who do that, and it's very smart of them to save their time and resources and tax dollars. But a lot of cops will go with the full extent of the law, and they can still charge you with possession. Here in British Columbia, we've seen possession charges doubling over the last number of years. So it's not something that isn't happening. A lot of lives are still being destroyed by simple possession arrests. And if cops are still being allowed to do it, that makes the law even more unjust, because if you can get away with it in one place and then just 10 minutes out of town get busted and thrown in prison, that's not a fair law.
Yeah, and the maximum penalty is 5 years in jail or a $1,000 fine, so it is pretty steep. Pam, what's the focus of Smart Approaches to Marijuana? Are you in favor of tickets, fines for small quantities of pot?
Well, we're a health-oriented organization who will do everything we can to reduce the usage of marijuana in this country, specifically with youth. And we absolutely think that, you know, we don't want to see people thrown in prison, nor are they being. There were 7 people who were charged and actually saw jail time in 2011 in British Columbia. So we're not talking about a great deal of people having their lives affected at the moment with the current situation. However, the law that's on the books right now isn't being enforced by the RCMP and police because, you know, just the way things have gone. So the Conservative government, the government of the day, is looking to address the way things are and the way law is, and I think they're being very progressive, and I think it's a good step in the right direction.
So then, is your major concern would be with teenagers, young people using marijuana?
Well, I mean, Canada leads the Western world with the highest incidence of youth taking up marijuana. we have more youth in this country using it than anywhere else in the world. So I absolutely think we have a crisis in the country as far as usage, and we have to address that. And that really should be the focus here, not necessarily the judicial system, but the health system. And I think that really should be the focus.
Talk about that, Jody.
Oh, when it comes to young people and marijuana, we know from decades of evidence that places with looser marijuana laws have lower usages amongst young people. In Amsterdam, for example, where it's kind of decrim but considered legalized, and in Portugal, where it's been legalized for over a decade, youth rates go down. And in states where medical marijuana has been made legal, the rates go down as well. We know that when the...
It's not true, but yeah, it's not.
I encourage people to use Google, and they can go and find all the information out there. They don't need to trust me, but it's proven that young people suffer far worse from the penalties of pot prohibition than they do from marijuana use itself. And if there are young people...
But are you at all worried? I mean, you don't have kids. If you were the mom of a teenager, 13, 14, 15, would you be concerned about them smoking pot?
I'm sure moms are concerned about their kids driving, about going to the park at night.
Would you be concerned about a teenager, 13-year-old smoking pot?
Probably, but not nearly as concerned as I would be about alcohol out there. Alcohol, which subjects young women to rape and sexual assault every single night. And it's true, that is indisputable, that alcohol is putting young people at risk far greater numbers than marijuana ever does.
So why is alcohol so dangerous and pot isn't?
Well, because alcohol is proven to actually cause physical harm and brain damage scientifically. Marijuana...
Studies show that marijuana on children's brains...
Well, actually, children are going to Colorado in droves to find relief from their seizures and epilepsy through marijuana use.
But you really have that backwards. You really do. All the science that we have shows that anybody under the age of 18 exposed to marijuana has a definite exposure to reduction of cognitive ability permanently for the rest of their lives. That is the risk here. That is the situation, and Canadians don't know that fact.
Well, millions of Canadians use marijuana for decades, and they're not all going insane. There are millions of Canadians right now using marijuana.
Everybody was going insane. We're saying children who use marijuana are definitely at risk of having a cognitive disability, and that is absolutely science and truth, and it's a permanent situation they will face for the rest of their lives.
Well, then we better get all the young people out of sports immediately, and I encourage Sam to get young people out of football where brain damage is being caused on our schoolyards every day. If you're talking about protecting our children, if your argument is that we want to protect the children and we want to protect them from harm, we need to protect them from things that are harmful on a much bigger scale than marijuana use. Right now, marijuana use is not a crisis. There are many crises going on with young people. 1 in 6
children using marijuana in this country will become addicted to it.
Addiction does not exist for marijuana, and that's been proven. And even if people do have problems with addictive behavior,
that is completely not true.
Even if young people do use marijuana, some of them are addicted to video games.
You have no basis of fact of anything you've just said. Anything you've just said.
I encourage people to look online. They don't need to believe me. They don't need to believe you. They can educate themselves.
And one would have to ask, who is your lobby and who are you being paid by?
I'm not being paid by anybody. My husband's in prison and he's a drug war victim, and my life is devoted to defending the people who are peaceful, non-violent victims of a drug war. I don't get paid anything. I pay money to keep my husband safe in federal prison, where he has been sent for spending millions of dollars he raised and gave away in its entirety to change the laws, which is what's happening in the United States.
Did he break the law? Did he break the law?
He sold seeds, and the United States Drug Enforcement Administration admitted that all of his money went to political activist groups, and his own prosecutor admitted that marijuana should be legal. My husband's prosecutor...
You are doing, personally, I think you are doing an incredible disservice to this country and the youth of this country, and you should not be given the amount of time and space you are given, because your point of view is not based in science, it is not valid, and it's completely biased.
All right, I'm going to stop you both right there. We need to take a commercial break. We are going to continue this conversation. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this with more Pam McCall and Jody Emery on pot. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with Pam McCall, who is with Smart Approaches to Marijuana. She is on the phone from the Gulf Islands, and Jody Emery, who's a marijuana activist, in studio. And ladies, you clearly have differing viewpoints on this. I want to ask you this, Jody. People who smoke marijuana and smoke it regularly talk about it not being addictive. How is that possible? Because for people who watch others smoking it, it certainly seems addictive.
Well, we have to talk about what addiction really means. I mean, coffee, that's something a lot of people are addicted to. Sincerely, they wake up in the morning and they say, I cannot function without coffee. That's an addiction. Cigarette smokers also addicted. But video games, is that addiction to video games, or is that just habitual use? So there's a difference between addiction and habitual use. Addiction, I think we can loosely define it as something you do repeatedly that causes you harm to your daily life. Now, marijuana users who use it regularly and don't suffer any ill side effects from that, maybe they're addicted in that they use it every day, but they're not addicted in that they will suffer without it. My husband, Mark Emery, well known for taking gigantic bong hits and smoking big joints, went into federal prison and never felt 1 second of withdrawal. The only thing he misses is fresh food and freedom. But when it comes to marijuana, anyone who says they're addicted may have tendencies of being addicted to anything else out there. They might have been addicted to alcohol or painkillers.
They might have, but that doesn't erase the fact that they may well be addicted to marijuana, and it alters behavior.
So let's say, well, marijuana doesn't really alter behavior. It may make you slow down and think about things from a different perspective. There are also a lot of researchers out there, and this is evidence, don't take my word for it, look it up, a lot of evidence out there showing that people addicted to hard drugs and opiates and pharmaceutical painkillers are getting off of those addictive drugs and heroin and cocaine by using marijuana. So marijuana has actually been proven, type in the words, gateway out of drugs. Marijuana is being used by researchers to help people.
Perhaps some others might call it harm reduction. Pam, I want to bring you back into the conversation. Give us your viewpoint on marijuana and addiction.
Well, we know from scientific studies that have been validated around the world that 1 in 6 youth who use it regularly will become addicted, and 1 in 10 adults. If you know, the fellow guest does not understand what addiction is and the crisis of that to not only the user but the family and what it does to them and their job and their future and everything else, that's very sad, because addiction is a very real concept and a very real challenge in society, and be it alcohol or tobacco or marijuana, addiction is a plight, and it's a very sad situation for people to find themselves in, and can be a lifelong struggle. And marijuana absolutely is an addictive drug.
Well, marijuana actually isn't that addictive, and even if it is, we shouldn't be punishing people for it. And in the United States, they found that the majority of people being sent to addiction centers, the research centers, and groups like SAM are actually funded by groups that want money from treatment. These treatment centers are being set up as an alternative to prison.
By any treatment.
So what happens is young people being sent to prison for addiction, or being sent to treatment, for addiction, aren't actually addicted. They had the choice between treatment for addiction or prison for possession. And of course they're going to choose addiction, which means they have addiction, but they don't. It's just their choice. They had to go that way because of the law.
So what's your vision of Canada? What do you see? You'd like everyone to take up marijuana? Is this
They're not all going to take up marijuana. Right now, millions of Canadians use marijuana without any harm to society at all. And it's been going on since the 60s. Decades of millions of adults.
The marijuana on the street today is nowhere near the marijuana of Woodstock.
Do you smoke it? Can you tell me that from example and experience? Because I can tell you that I know a lot of people out there using marijuana. And sure, some of the prime stuff from the 70s was good, but a lot of marijuana right now is just the same. And in fact, if it's any stronger, it's because we forced it into greenhouses where the environment is perfected, rather than getting the swag grown in the hills of Mexico. So it's Prohibition that has made marijuana stronger. If it is any stronger, that's Prohibition.
Sorry, go ahead, Pam. Ask that question again.
Yeah, how do you see society moving forward? I mean, what's your vision with a free society with everybody smoking dope, and there's no harm, there's no addiction quality to it?
Well, right now people are smoking it, and they're being...
Is that what you're seeing? I mean,
well, what I'm seeing is a vision where taxpayers' dollars are not being wasted arresting or persecuting or punishing marijuana users. But they are millions and millions of dollars.
No, they're not. No,
yes, it is. SensibleBC.ca has the statistics of the province of British Columbia and the money they have spent on simple possession, and it's millions of dollars. And I encourage people to look it up for themselves. But let's just go back to the point that even if something is harmful, we should not be punishing people for it. We need to educate them and help them. But groups like SAM are out there just to continue the reefer madness and the propaganda and stigmatizing people by saying a country of dopers would be the result of legalization. That's not true.
You have said from the beginning of when you started speaking on this interview, you have said falsehoods, and I've written them down. You have not based yourself in fact at all.
It is all
factual. SAM stands behind science. We are absolutely a science-based, fact.
But you're opinionated. You're science.
All
I
right,
agree
ladies,
with the science.
You know what? I'm afraid I've got to stop you. We're going to have to continue this another day. Pam McCall with Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And Jody Emery, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dispensary shirts, and I went, I'm an equal opportunity dispensary user.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess we're back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we are.
I'm eating M&M's over here. Peanut.
You're hitting up all the candy.
I needed some candy.
You're doing the stereotypical stoner shit. Don't do that.
I love the candy. I guess I'm a stereotypical stoner.
Hey, once in a while.
So, Corey, Trip C, what's shaking?
Reefer Madness. That's what's shaking
That was
until
funny.
Sunday.
That was hilarious
Oh
last
my
night.
God, it's wonderful.
It was pretty well done, huh?
Engaging, interactive.
Yeah, that one guy, the guy who was kind of like the
lecturer.
the propagandist lecturer guy
The
was so
lecturer.
amazing. He was hilarious.
That's this right here.
It was well put
They're
together.
handing this out, and while they're handing this out, they're saying, you smoke a joint, and you're likely to kill your brother. Seriously, from Harry J. Anslinger.
It was cool because it was interactive. They had women all dressed in sort of Prohibition era clothes, and talking about how pot should be illegal and how it it poisons children and all that kind of stuff.
Marijuana is the most violent causing drug in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude, for real.
Yeah, that's what Anslinger said.
For real?
Oh, yes. And for obviously Reefer Madness, everybody knows that the Reefer Madness movie you can watch. It's an old propaganda movie. And
It's a
they've
wonderful satire of it.
turned it
Wonderful.
into a play. And so if you're in Vancouver and you have the weekend off, come down and check it out at the CBC right here up the street, actually, on Cambie.
No, a 700 Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton, right. Actually, yeah, this is Hamilton right in front of us here.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's
And it
it's
was
in the
actually,
evenings, I guess.
It was sponsored by Mega L.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sponsored by Mega Ill Pizza.
going on until May 18th, and they're going to have matinees, so 2 performances on Saturday, 2 performances on Sunday, and you can get a glimpse of the painting that I donated. And if you go to awkwardstageproductions.com, you'll see Mega Ill's sponsorship, Ignites, Renegade Productions, and Trip C.
Yeah, and because, of course, you had a painting that you donated to them last night.
I did.
Yeah, and it's a nice... I took a photo. I'm going to post that up on our Instagram feed.
Please
now,
do.
that was a cool painting of the sort of...
The playbill.
Yeah, the playbill. It was nicely done. Now, somebody wave here in the chat mentioned the play faster, faster scene. That's actually in the play.
Yes.
I love that they included that part where they're playing the piano and
Absolutely.
he's saying faster, faster. It was really well done. So check that out, guys.
Yes, definitely.
And Marius is over there setting up Dana videos for us.
Good.
Now, and Marius, did you see which one is the first one? Well, I would assume it would be the first really long one. Yeah, that was the one. That'd be the one you want to start with. And if you listen to it for just a second, you'd be able to tell if Dana is starting his speech. That would.
Well, it looks like in this one the camera is like focusing.
Right, just at the very beginning. That's the one. Yeah, start with that one.
That's the one. He
Start
says.
with that one. Would be very nice. Yeah. So now, did you want to talk about anything else, Corey? While you were here, we have
Well,
this law enforcement against prohibition
Yeah,
stuff.
because Steve Finley was
Steve
there.
was there.
With,
We have him on video too.
With Dana, and he's with law enforcement against prohibition, LEAP.
Yeah.
He's what you call.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. A civilian member, so he's never served in law enforcement, but he definitely supports the cause.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been to the website, if you know anything about LEAP, it is amazing. These are law enforcement professionals who've done their job their entire life, but they know that it's wrong. They know that it's criminal, the laws we have. Prohibition's wrong. And they are telling you, and they will speak publicly about it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it would be really nice. Now, Dana says in his speech that he'd be willing to debate the guys from SAM at any time. So I'd love to see the guys from law enforcement against prohibition debate the guys from SAM.
Absolutely. That would be an amazing, amazing thing to see.
The Slam Fest,
Absolutely.
says Dr. Clone.
Their website is www.leap.cc.
That's right. Yeah, and they, the guys from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition really bring some serious legitimacy, especially when you hear, these people like the people at SAM complaining and saying that
They have the facts.
They
Oh my
think they
God.
have the cops on their side, but really there's a lot of police officers who don't support the war on drugs and who wish that law enforcement would get out of that ridiculous head against the wall banging, prohibition stuff.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. So also you have some pins here.
Yeah, I do, the coalition pins. So they're trying to get 1,000 of these out there for fundraising. They're $10 a piece. You can find them all over the city at different dispensaries, grow shops. I'll be coming around for places that don't have them yet, bringing them out, as well as the glass pieces. You can find those at Weeds and the Bong Shop, as
now,
well as some
to support
postcards.
The MMAR Coalition Against Repeal.
Yeah.
That's the group that is putting forward a constitutional challenge to the new growing laws that we have, the ridiculous MMPR system,
Yes,
complete
and-
horseshit system that wants to rob medical growers of their home growing and put it all into the hands of corporate monkeys.
And these are the people responsible for stopping the kitty litter brigade, okay? Stopping all these people from having to destroy their gardens at the end of March.
Yep.
And it's very important that the legal fees get paid, and that's what these the $10 per pin is going to help.
Right. Of course, John Conroy, the lawyer, has had some success in fighting some of these battles, but these court cases cost a lot of money. They're not cheap to even just getting the information and paperwork and stuff. It costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they really do need the support of everybody, and
Absolutely.
we need to really win this one because it's still up in the air. Everybody's assuming that they're just going to win, but
they think they think we've won already, and you can't sit on your ass. Okay, step away from the bong, get up, and become active.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thanks, Corey. That's excellent. You were there with us today.
Oh, yeah, this morning.
Patrick Kennedy thing. Did you actually see Mr. Kennedy?
No, I didn't. The reason I was there, though, this morning is that it said I needed to be re-educated. I'm currently attending Cannabis is Medicine at Cannabis Training Institute, and I'd like to talk to him. I
You'd
don't
like to
think I
do
need
some
to be
re-educating of your own.
Thank you. I don't think I need to be re-educated on, and I most certainly don't think that forced rehab needs to happen. So I had to be there. I'm really angry about the subject, so yeah.
Yeah, well,
that's why I was there.
They were scuttling away like weasels when I saw them. So
well, the thing is that if they won't defend themselves, we're gonna trash the shit out of them. I'm sorry,
Right.
but it's really stupid to sit there and have an agenda and not have an open debate about it because you can't.
Right, and that's one thing I want to bring up again. Now, when they came to town, they said that this was going to be an open dialogue. But of course, when people like Chris Bennett and people like Dana Larson and others tried to, they just basically denied them based on their name alone and actually told Chris Bennett, "Screw you," and hung up the phone on him.
At what point did they say that it was going to be an open?
Well, they claim that it's an open debate in their brochures and all the stuff they do. And then, of course, the lady said, "I have the right to vet whoever I want." Rah, rah, rah. Was ranting. But yeah, I have the actual quote here from Chris Bennett. If you go to the front page of CannabisCulture.com right now, there's a story, Sensible BC takes on American prohibitionists in Vancouver, about the little event that was there this morning. And Dana, of course, was saying some stuff here. But there's the Chris Bennett quote about the "screw you" in it as well. So.
Well, was really busy going to Reefer Madness. I put in a couple of calls, and hopefully, I know that Dana was speaking to Global, and he might speak to someone from CTV. Who knows? So.
Yeah, Dana was doing some media when we were there. And
but subsequently throughout the day, I know he spoke to Global.
Yeah, he went to the TV station too.
Yeah.
Now, it was funny because the Australian Broadcasting Corporation was actually there recording Mr. Kennedy at the event. And so they came out and put a mic on Dana, and they got all the footage of his press conference. And they heard me yelling down the hallway after them that marijuana was harmless and that they wouldn't, why won't you have an open debate about it? Why are you vetting?
I don't understand why did they come and cover what Dana had to say when they wouldn't let him in?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, Dana.
WTF?
They shouldn't be, if these guys really stand behind what they say, they shouldn't have any problem debating us. They shouldn't be scuttling away like weasels, hiding in the shadows, basically.
They should be master debaters.
They should be master debaters. No, I'm sure they think that's immoral as well as marijuana.
Are you baiting me? Are you baiting me?
He's masterly at that.
Yes, he's doing.
He's the master of baiting.
That's actually good between Mel Gibson and Rene Russo. There's that whole scene in Lethal Weapon. Are you baiting me?
Lethal
Are you
Weapon
baiting
reference.
Me? You're a master at it, aren't you?
You know what? It's been many years since I've seen Lethal Weapon, but that's a classic.
Yes, it is.
All three of those movies are funny.
Is there an expiry date on my forehead now?
It's an older movie. All right. Well, let's go ahead and play this video from outside of Patrick Kennedy's appearance here.
Definitely.
Smart approach to marijuana in town, in Vancouver.
Very much to everybody who's here today. And we're here because we're protesting and really showing our disdain for this group that's going to be meeting here in a little while called SAM Canada, Smart Approaches to Marijuana Canada. And they're hosting a fellow named Patrick Kennedy, who's an American politician who's coming to Canada once again to tell us how to deal with marijuana and that we better keep it illegal, a crime in our country. And as Canadians, I think we've had enough of Americans coming to our country telling us how to deal with our marijuana policy.
Hell yeah!
And Patrick Kennedy and his group Smart Approaches to Marijuana are really promoting the continuation of this failed prohibition of marijuana, the failed war on marijuana that has been going on for over 100 years in this country and the U.S. and around the world. A failed war that has not reduced marijuana use, that has not reduced the harm of marijuana use, and that has succeeded only in criminalizing and imprisoning large numbers of people who do not deserve to be punished at all. And now SAM Canada wants to tweak that a little bit. They say if we just tweak prohibition a little bit, then it's going to work fine. We know things haven't worked too well for the last 100 years, but they want to make a few little fixes. And the fixes they propose will actually make things worse, not better, for marijuana users and for everybody in our province and in our country. And their proposal is that they want marijuana users to be fined and then treated for their marijuana addiction. They want forced treatment for marijuana users. It's not a good idea. Forced treatment is not going to benefit anybody. The vast majority of marijuana users are occasional users who have no problems with their use. The vast majority of heavy marijuana users do so because of a medical need of some sort. And the idea that a marijuana addiction treatment program is the solution is simply wrong and inaccurate and is going to cause a lot of harm. You can bring that mic up if you want to come set that up. That's fine. Go ahead. I can take a minute to let you get set up. Yeah, you want to plug it in here? Should be some somewhere. Really? Yeah, right now? Sorry. I'll give you lots of clips. So we're here today because this group, Smart Approaches to Marijuana, is hosting one of their major founders and sponsors, Patrick Kennedy. And he's yet another American politician coming to Canada telling us that we better not change our marijuana laws, we better not legalize marijuana, or things are going to go to hell. And in actual fact, we see when we look at the American states of Colorado and Washington, especially Colorado, where legalization is in full force, we are actually seeing that legalization has only been in place for a short period of time, and yet crime rates are dropping in Colorado. People there support legalization more now than they did when the vote happened. And things are actually going really well. They're generating millions of dollars in tax revenue. And all the scary proposals that were put forward are not happening. And in fact, things are getting better and better for people in Colorado. And this matches earlier studies done in the U.S. where they looked at states that have legalized marijuana, medical marijuana, over the last 20 years. And these studies show that wherever medical marijuana is legalized, crime rates also drop. And so legalizing marijuana has many benefits, and one is that it will reduce other forms of crime in our society as well. But this idea that SAM Canada is putting forward, that there's such a thing as marijuana addiction, and they put this preposterous numbers out, that 1 in 6 marijuana users is an addict. But if you look behind their numbers, they define a marijuana addict as someone who might just smoke 1 joint a week. And clearly that is not addiction. Even heavy marijuana users are not addicted in the classical sense. There's no withdrawal symptoms. Nobody is prostituting themselves or stealing to get their marijuana. It simply really does a disservice to people who are addicted to serious issues and who have alcoholism or prescription drug addiction or addiction to other illegal drugs. It does a disservice to call marijuana users addicts when there's others who are really facing very serious addiction issues. And Patrick Kennedy should know better. As someone who's been very open about his own addiction issues with alcohol and with prescription drugs, I don't know why he's going after the marijuana culture and marijuana users when that is the one substance that he hasn't used and which hasn't caused him any personal problems. And if you look at our society, the vast majority of people that use cannabis have no other problems with it. Cannabis does not produce crime. In fact, people often choose cannabis instead of alcohol. And in my dispensaries that we run in Vancouver, my medical marijuana dispensaries, I see every day how people are able to stop their use of prescription drugs because they have access to this healing herb. So if we want to reduce alcohol use, if we want to reduce prescription drug use, if we want a society that's safer and that treats people like the adults that we are, and if we want to try to keep cannabis out of the hands of minors, then the best way to do that is through legalization and regulation for adults. And this forced treatment idea is only going to benefit one group of people, and that is the rehab clinics who get the contracts to deal with the forced treatment of marijuana users. And that is a gold mine. Can you imagine getting the contract in Vancouver to treat marijuana addiction? Some of these clinics, including one that's sponsoring today's event, they charge $20,000 for a 90-day stay. That would be printing gold. And yet, it's not going to stop a single person from using marijuana. Even putting marijuana users through the most rigorous forms of addiction treatment is not going to benefit or make them stop using marijuana. Studies show that well over 90% of marijuana users who are imprisoned for their use continue to use when they get out of prison. Forced treatment is only going to turn people into liars who will tell the authorities what they want to hear so they can get out of that program and get back home and hit the bomb. Tell us who pays for all that. And you know, the idea that marijuana produces addiction, that we need treatment, is very backwards, because if we were to propose that for alcohol users or for tobacco users, and there's no question that alcohol and tobacco are far more addictive than even the worst nightmare scenario of what marijuana could be. And yet, do we want to have a society where everyone with alcohol in their breath goes for forced alcoholism treatment and forced into AA? No. Where everyone who uses tobacco is forced into tobacco re-education programs? No. In fact, we've drastically reduced tobacco use in our society without criminalizing anybody, without putting anybody in prison. We've done it through education and awareness. And if they believe that marijuana is harmful, and I would disagree with them on that, but if you believe that marijuana use is harmful, the way to reduce that use is not through mandatory treatment, and it's not through punishment. It's through simple dialogue and conversation. It's through making your point. If you think marijuana is harmful, let's have a conversation and talk about that. But these folks at SAM Canada and Patrick Kennedy do not want open dialogue. They promoted today's event as an event where people can come and engage in a conversation about marijuana, and yet they forbade anybody from attending if they said they support legalization. We tried to buy tickets for this event, and they said everything was fine. When they heard my name, Dana Larson, uh-oh, we've sold out. Sorry, you can't come. Another friend of ours called in. They said, what group are you from? He said, I'm not from any group. I'm just a citizen who cares about marijuana issues. So Pamela McCall, the organizer, said, well, do you support legalization? He said, yes, I do. She said, well, you're not welcome at our event. This is not for you. He said, well, that's kind of odd. She said, screw you, and she hung up on him. So that's the kind of open dialogue and debate they want to have. You know, I've never kicked someone out. I've done hundreds and hundreds of talks about marijuana around the province. I've had protesters come to my events once in a while. I've never once forbade them from coming. I've never once kicked somebody out because they had an alternate point of view. Our movement and our culture is always happy to have a dialogue about this issue. But the prohibitionists do not want open conversation. They do not want open dialogue. They refuse to debate us. And I put out now that I'm willing to debate the folks from SAM Canada, Pamela McCall or Patrick Kennedy or anybody else. I would be happy to have that debate, and I encourage them to come and step forward, but I have a feeling they're not going to accept my offer. to get people to come out in public and say that they're going to stand up for prohibition. They only want to do it in their own little meetings where they don't have any conversation or real dialogue happening. And you know, there's an irony that we're meeting here today in Gastown and near Chinatown and Water Street because Canada's war on drugs begins a few blocks away. And they would have you think that our war on drugs and the war on marijuana is based on science and based on logic and based on some kind of study of the rational harms of marijuana use. But in fact, Canada's war on drugs and our war on marijuana is entirely based in racism against minority groups. Our war on drugs and the war on marijuana in Canada began because white workers did not want opium-smoking Chinese workers to compete with them. And it's through racism and cultural attacks on these groups that we have this war in our country. Every study that's been done of any repute in our country or elsewhere around the world has shown that marijuana should be legalized. And just a few years ago, Canada's Senate put out a report with a Senate committee led by conservative senators and made up of conservative and liberal bipartisan senators. They came out with the recommendation that the war on marijuana is an absolute failure, that it causes a great deal of harm and suffering and misery in Canada and around the world. And they proposed that marijuana be legal to purchase for all Canadians over the age of 16 years old. And the Senate is not known as a group of rabble-rousers or a group of people that comes to those kind of conclusions easily. And so I think that that's what we're looking forward. We should be looking at the science, looking at the research, not promoting the idea that marijuana is a terribly addictive drug that destroys our society. That is absolute bullshit. And I'm quite confident that if we can engage in a rational debate with these people, if they would let us share the stage with them, they would also quickly come to see that their arguments are very weak and that the war on marijuana is a failure. Patrick Kennedy himself in a debate on the Colbert Report, talking to Colbert, he talked about his own problems with alcohol and prescription drugs. He said he didn't use marijuana, didn't smoke it because he was an asthma user who couldn't smoke it. And he said maybe if he'd eaten marijuana, maybe he wouldn't have moved on to other drugs. And Colbert said, so you mean if marijuana was legal, then maybe you wouldn't have had all those problems? And he said, yeah, but it's good that I had those problems because it showed me what an addict I was. If I'd only smoked marijuana, I wouldn't have realized what an addict I was. And that logic is very twisted and very dangerous. Marijuana not addictive. Marijuana can help treat and cure addiction. Marijuana for many people is a substitute for more harmful substances. Many people who have problems with alcohol or prescription drugs or illegal drugs turn to cannabis, and they find that using cannabis helps stabilize them, helps keep them straight, and lets them enjoy a much better quality of life. And so it's time for us as Canadians to build a marijuana policy and a drug policy built in Canada. We're leading that here in Vancouver and British Columbia. If we're going to follow the example of the Americans, let's follow the example of Colorado and Washington. Yeah. Where the people of those states stood up to politicians like Patrick Kennedy, where they stood up to their weak-willed leaders, and they implemented positive marijuana policy. And let's look to the example of California and Washington and Oregon and the 20 other American states that have also legalized medical marijuana in the same way and recognize the immense benefits of this plant as a healing herb to treat a wide variety of ailments. You know, Patrick Kennedy says marijuana users are addicts. I see marijuana users as people who want to relax, who maybe want to enjoy themselves, and people who are often treating very serious ailments and who want to ensure the quality of their health. To call those people addicts is a terrible insult, and really Patrick Kennedy and SAM Canada owe marijuana users across Canada an apology. And they owe real drug addicts, real alcoholics an apology as well for comparing these two things together when there is simply no comparison to be made. So it's wonderful to have this nice little crowd here. You know, getting people together at 11 or 12 o'clock on a Monday afternoon isn't always the easiest, or sorry, on a Friday afternoon, or on a Monday afternoon. It's not always the easiest thing. But you know, people in Vancouver especially are very passionate about this issue. And if people want to come to our city and tell us how to deal with marijuana, when we have worked out a system in our city that works very well for us, thank you very much. Vancouver is leading Canada in terms of tolerance and support. We have a broad network of medical marijuana dispensaries. the VPD wisely and sagely treat marijuana possession as a very low priority. The mayor of our city has made it clear that he supports progressive marijuana policies that include decriminalization or legalization. And we don't, we're happy to have that debate, but we don't want American politicians coming to Vancouver and telling us how to do things in our city and in our country. Thank you very much. We've had enough of that over the years. Why we're here. Give a little rewind there just for our media friends. We are gathered here today to protest. We are gathered here today to protest and to show our disdain for Patrick Kennedy and his organization, SAM Canada, Smart Approaches to Marijuana. We do not believe that their approach is a smart approach at all. We're calling it Prohibition Light. They're trying to repackage Prohibition for a new generation. They're trying to claim that these policies that have failed for over 100 years in our country just need a little tweak and then everything will be okay. We just got to treat marijuana users like addicts instead of like criminals, and then Prohibition's going to work great. And in fact, these policies would result in more punishment for marijuana users. If you're a pot smoker in Canada right now, depending on where you are in the country, if you get stopped by the police, you've got about a 5 out of 6 chance of being let go and given a warning, and about a 1 in 6 chance of actually being criminally charged. But if we had Patrick Kennedy's option, we'd see 6 out of 6 Canadians getting a big fine and then being sent off to a marijuana re-education camp for expensive treatment for their marijuana addiction. And that would cost Canadian taxpayers a lot more money than even putting them in prison would. And it's not going to make a darn bit of difference. Not a single person who's a marijuana user is going to go to marijuana treatment and come out with a changed point of view. No. Studies show that not over 90% of people who go to prison for marijuana use keep smoking pot when they come out. And the idea that we've got to take marijuana users and turn them into addicts, send them to a marijuana re-education camp, and hopefully they'll come out not smoking pot, but if they drink alcohol and smoke tobacco, well, that's okay. No re-education for those folks, This is a push by the alcohol lobby, by the pharmaceutical lobby, and by the drug treatment lobby to cash in on the marijuana culture by treating us like the addicts, which we are simply not. It's a very wrong way to go. And Patrick Kennedy says he doesn't want big marijuana like there's big tobacco. And he tries to scare people by saying that big marijuana is going to be as bad as big tobacco. But he's a shill for big prohibition. And big prohibition is causing a lot more harm in our society. It drains more taxpayer dollars. They have a bigger lobby group, and they're the ones who are really causing a lot of problems. And in fact, a lot of the big marijuana we have now, they don't want marijuana legalized either. The people who are really profiting, the big growers and the big things, they're on the same side as Patrick Kennedy and they police. They like it illegal because that keeps their profits high. That keeps their profit margins high. And if we want to protect you, if we want to protect adults, if we want to have a safer, cleaner, better society, we got to legalize marijuana for all adults and stop this ridiculous war. And they keep talking about kids and how it's all about the kids. But you know what? We don't pass laws for adults, but what kids should be doing. We don't want kids to be driving cars when they're 10 years old, or having sex when they're 10 years old, or drinking alcohol, or doing a lot of other things. But we don't ban those things for adults. We put responsible rules in place, put regulations in place. There's a beautiful bong shop right next door here. They have a big sign on their door, 19 years or older. They have those kind of rules. That's a good thing. We want those kind of rules, That's what we need to have, responsible regulation. But Patrick Kennedy's of the world and the Smart Approaches of Canada, Smart Approaches to Marijuana Canada, they want to punish people. They want to treat us like addicts and like drug abusers when really we're just regular people who aren't harming anybody, even ourselves. Using marijuana can be a very responsible choice, especially if you're choosing to use marijuana instead of alcohol or instead of tobacco. Because whatever you might feel about marijuana, every single study and analysis shows that the harms of alcohol and tobacco to the individual and to society are far, far greater. And so this idea that we need forced treatment for marijuana users while they can have their meetings in a restaurant that serves wine and beer for lunch is an absurd, abject hypocrisy that we must reject. And no one... We're not calling for a ban on alcohol. We're not calling challenge for a ban on tobacco, but we want equal rights for those Canadians who choose to use marijuana instead of those substances, because we're the ones making the responsible choice. We do not deserve forced treatment. We don't deserve fines and punishments. We deserve to be left alone. When you're not bothering anybody else, you should be left alone. That is the message we have today. Sam Canada want to confuse us by claiming that their proposal is decriminalization and that treating marijuana users like addicts is decriminalization. That is not decriminalization. Decriminalization means it's not a crime. It means there's no punishments at all. We don't want punishment switching. We don't want marijuana users to be treated like anything else than regular law-abiding citizens that we are. We want equal rights for marijuana users to the alcohol users and tobacco users of the world, and we will not rest until we have accomplished that goal. Woo! That's why we're here today. Yeah. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really glad that we're able to have this format of this press conference before their hearing, because they've rejected any dialogue. They've said they don't want to have us there. They don't allow us inside. They don't want to hear what we have to say, and they don't want any difficult questions. And as a politician, I would hope that Patrick Kennedy would be used to having some difficult questions once in a while, and would have the courage of his convictions to stand up for his views. And so I reiterate again that I am willing to debate, and I challenge Sam Canada to a debate Patrick Kennedy or Pamela McCall or any other person from their organization that they choose. I would love to have that conversation. And if they have the courage of their convictions, if they believe that they're right and that their point of view is the correct one, then they should be willing to come out and have a public debate. And that really is what we should be having more of. But they want to limit debate, they want to limit conversation, and that is always the prohibitionist way. They have a very difficult time. Whenever people want to invite me to an event and they want to get someone else, they end up asking me, Dana, do you know anybody who will take the opposing view? You can't get anybody to debate you because they don't want to come. They don't want to debate. But we're more than happy to debate. And that's because we have the facts on our side, we have the truth on our side, and we have the courage of our convictions to stand up to what we believe in. What we believe in is truth and justice, not just for cannabis users, but for all Canadians and all British Columbians and everyone, especially here in our very special city of Vancouver. We are not going to turn back the clock. We're not going to let American politicians change things for us here or push us back to the 1930s where they want us to be with their Reefer Madness ideology. So I want to thank you all for coming. I'm going to let my friend here from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition say a couple of words. The Sam Canada likes to pretend that all the law enforcement and all the police officers and all the medical professionals and everybody's on their side, but really their support is crumbling. And we're seeing more and more support from grassroots doctors who are coming on board, and more support from grassroots law enforcement officials, police officers, judges, and other folks like that. And I'm going to let my friend from Sam Canada from Leap come and say a few words here as well. I wish someone from Sam Canada would come. But go ahead, say.
Thanks very much. My name is Steve Finlay, and I am a civilian board member of the Canadian branch of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Thank you very much, Dana, for the opportunity. This is an enormous issue, and it is not an enormous issue only for people who use cannabis. As far as we know, maybe 70% of the Canadian adult population does not use cannabis or uses it very rarely. That's what we need. And I keep being asked by some people, why do you care? You're not using cannabis. Why do you care about this issue? And why should we care? And I tell them there's two very good reasons. Number one, it is their money, their tax money, that is being poured down the drain at a horrible rate to pay for prohibition. Dana mentioned, why would Patrick Kennedy go after marijuana when he never had a marijuana problem? I'll tell you why. It's because that's where the money is. If they can get... There are far more people using marijuana than other drugs for obvious reasons. If they can get the government to force then they can suck money out of all of our pockets as taxpayers at the rate of at least $20,000 per person. That's what they found it cost in California. That's what they found it cost for mandatory drug treatment, while finding that it had no effect whatsoever on drug use. So that's the one reason it's here. It costs us too much money. It costs us money that our governments need for schools, they need it for health care, they need it for infrastructure. We do not need to pour it away making worthless drug treatment providers rich. That's one reason. The other reason is that prohibition puts all of us in danger. Prohibition destroys public safety. Because Sam would have you believe that prohibition somehow reduces drug use. It does absolutely nothing of the kind. This has been proven statistically over and over. What it does do is simply make criminal gangs very rich. Dana mentioned Sam is scared of big marijuana. Well, we have big marijuana right now, only it's run out of Mexico. It's run by the drug cartels. That's the big marijuana we have now. Prohibition gives them a monopoly. They get enough money to fight off and win the Mexican military, backed up by the U.S. military. It's prohibition that enables them to do that. And that is what causes all of us to be in danger, because they have the money to fight each other with any kind of weaponry they want. That is what creates most of the murders, an awful lot of the crime in North America is people fighting over that drug market. That is caused by prohibition. So prohibition destroys public safety. It wastes our taxpayer money. And it cannot be fixed by tweaking it. As Neil Franklin, the executive director of LEAP, says, there is no changing it. There is no repairing it. There is no making it better. It has to go, period. And that's our message. To people who don't use marijuana or cannabis or any drug, you are paying for this prohibition and you're paying huge amounts of tax money, and you are putting yourself in danger by it. You are making your streets unsafe. You are financing the criminals. You are giving them the power and the weapons and the arms that they need. That's what you're doing with prohibition. So if you don't use cannabis, that doesn't matter. You are paying for this policy, and you're paying along, and you're suffering from it. That's my message, everyone. Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, I think we've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish here. You know, Patrick Kennedy's got Australian news following him around, so they were most of the guys that put the mic on me or whatever wanted me to repeat things a little bit. But I think it's important that the documentary they're making about this guy shows some of the opposition that they're getting as they're traveling around. So I just ran in there to make sure they got one of our flyers. And if you'd like, if you didn't get one of these, check it out. It explains a little more about what Patrick Kennedy's got to say and why we're opposed to what he's proposing. And so I think we're done here today. If there's any questions or anything anybody wants to ask or anything like that, I'm happy to answer anything. Do you have a question?
Well, yeah, just a one-on-one after.
Okay, we'll do a thing after. Okay, so that's good. So I think we're done again. So thank you very much for being here, showing your support for sensible cannabis policies.
Yo, we're back. Little freeze there on our transition. That was the first one of the show, actually, so not so bad. But yeah, I'm back here chilling with my man Lex. What's up, brother? What's happening? Good to see you. We're just gonna smoke out of the penis bong from the lounge here. That's what we call this one. I don't know why they call it that, but I think because the guy who made it is penis glass. That's why. That's probably why. What's up, Travis? How you doing, Hit the bong, my friend.
Cheers, thank you.
So yeah, that was Dana on at our little press conference this morning on video that we just played, and he was, of course, criticizing Patrick Kennedy and all his lunacy, and these idiots from SAM. That was a good little bit of information by Dana. Dana's been really great lately. I really liked his speech from the Liberal town hall meeting that he had gave the other night as well. We played that on one of my shows not too long ago. But Lex, I was going to ask you, man. I met you yesterday. You were actually in the building. You're working on a graphic novel about pot. Can you tell people about what it is you're working on there?
Yeah, I'm going to call it People the Cannabinoids. And the one thing I want to explain is the endocannabinoid system, because that's the crazy part that people don't realize, is that we make a neurotransmitter in our head that's just like THC, and it's called anandamide. And just like endorphins are really just morphine that are made in the body for pain control, anandamide and the other endogenous cannabinoids are just used as molecules of balance. And so we finally, just 20 years ago, figured out why weed works on so many different diseases. It's because all over the body, it just calms things down. You know, whether it's a kidney acting up or a cancer cell going out of control, cannabis just calms it down.
Right.
So I think that's the most exciting part. But, you know, people don't really give a shit that much about the science. And so the hook is getting cannabis into grandma is the most important medical thing we could be doing. It works for aches and pains. It doesn't interact with other medications. And it's just a great first-line treatment for almost any grandparent. And
Right.
and there's so many ways to get into grandma's system now. You know, she doesn't have to smoke. She can vaporize and take one hit in the bathroom to stop her palsy. Or
do we freeze again? Are we frozen, Mars? Can you? How's your? I look like we're okay here. I'm seeing us. Yeah, here I'm holding up the bong now. Yeah, no, it looks good on our
we know
end here.
specific guests it freezes.
Yeah, it looks like people are saying that we froze, but no, we're fine. I can see myself holding the bong, so. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Sorry to cut you off there, brother.
No. But yeah, I mean, for your grandparents, the three things to think about getting into them is either a vaporizing pen or a salve that they can rub on their skin, especially for arthritis. Or the very best way to get cannabis into grandma is just a little glycerin or olive oil tincture, because she can put in her tea in the morning, a sativa to just be up and alert and help with aches and pains, or an indica at night to help her sleep. I'm good for now. Thanks.
Yeah.
And so that's the message you want to preach: the importance of cannabis for grandma's health.
Yeah. No kidding, man. Well, and it's true. I mean, it really does. It is a medicine that helps for everything. I think that's one of the reasons it probably remains illegal, is that pharmaceutical companies have been lobbying for years to make sure it is illegal. They don't like that a weed that grows so naturally in your backyard can be used to cure so many different things, and as a remedy for tons of things that make them a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Their synthetic cures make tons and tons of money, and obviously those profits would suffer a little bit if cannabis was legal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit the bong here.
Yeah, there was a decent study, that said, I think it was 10 to 20% of pharmaceuticals would be replaced immediately with medical cannabis. You wouldn't even have to have them, especially pain killing.
Yeah.
That's the one that, as you go around the country, that's the thing that people need the most. That is just, otherwise they have opiates. You know, we give people heroin, and then spit on them when they take cannabis to control their pain. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. Well, Marius, actually, we're going to wrap the show up right now, so please don't go too far. Yeah, this show is, we're pretty much ready to wrap it up. But yeah, it was a great show today. Thanks to all the guests who came on. Yeah, Lex, so when are you working on your book? When is that coming out, or when do you have any projections? You're still getting things going?
This is my last leg of the anecdotal tour in 2 years of research, so probably another 2 years to write it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I'll see you at when California votes to legalize.
Right.
2 years.
Excellent, man. Well, maybe we'll keep in touch with you as you're working on things. We can monitor your progress.
All right, sounds good.
Excellent, man. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Hey, it's great to see Vancouver.
Appreciate it.
You guys got a
Yeah,
special
man.
city here.
Cool. Well, I know you've been having some fun checking everything out in the building and stuff. What do you think of the lounge?
It's really great. It's one of the social spots for weed. It's just one of the it doesn't happen enough, even the legal places in America. Sometimes it's illegal to just gather and smoke together, you know, and this is one of the most beautiful parts about it.
Yeah, excellent, man. Well, it's definitely a fun place to be. Definitely the best place in the universe to work. I love it very much, and I love you guys out there in Pot TV land. And we'll see you again next week when we're at the Champs Expo in Toronto. This show will be broadcasting now. I'm not sure if we'll actually do a 4 p.m. show. We may do a 4 p.m. show, not entirely sure, because the time difference will be 7 o'clock out there, and the expo may be closed by that time already. So, of course, we'll be doing the daily broadcast there starting Friday morning. You can watch us then, but, of course, you can also watch all kinds of shows on Pot TV before that. Marius and I will be back on Wednesday, and you can watch all kinds of shows all week long at Pot.tv on the Pot TV feed and the Vapor Central feed. So check us out, Pot.tv and CannabisCulture.com. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Peace.